Throw some colors on the screen and paint me black and white. I wanna see a thief in a gunfight or a heroine wounded in love. You can keep her lighted by an old flame left to frame, so I can read the feeling on her face, half in shadow, and know I felt that too. In danger and in love, you've got the dreams I was dreaming of, and I've got 2 hours to pretend. So I watch a movie with a friend. Time's running sideways, and reality's gotta meet me halfway. So I'll meet it here again. Here's the Trading Movies Podcast with friends.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. Today I'm talking with Jenna, aka Jenna Say Quoi, who is a content creator who specializes in the intersection of films and fashion. She does a new mini-series each month where she explores where style meets cinema along a different theme. Right now we're in the middle of Bitch Fest, where she is going over feuds between women and movies, with movies like All About Eve and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane and Heathers. Last month it was Sad Victorian Spring with Days of Heaven, Picnic at Hanging Rock, and others. And next she'll be doing Summer Cinema Sleepover Fairy Tale Edition, where she'll be talking about The Princess Bride, A Knight's Tale, Labyrinth, and others. You can find her on Instagram at jenna.say.qua.paris. That's jenna.sais.quoi.paris. And on TikTok at Jenna _JENNA_SAIS.QUOI. Jenna, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you.
All right, we're starting actually today with a pop quiz. So I wore this special because style meets cinema. Do you recognize where this polo shirt is from? I'll give you a hint in that you did it. You probably know more about the wife of this person, I think.
Is it from? It's from a movie.
It's from a movie, yeah. And you featured it. You probably did. Is you did something on the wives of these people. Jenna did not know that I was going to pop quiz her.
I'm feeling.
It's a small. So I'll go ahead and it is. Let me see where I'm going to share my screen for a second and. Yeah, randomly,
okay.
My favorite shirt company. He did a polo, and this is probably the most expensive thing I own. It was like $100 and something bucks, and I normally don't spend that much on clothes at all.
But it's so cool.
Yeah, I was real happy. He did like this version and a brown version for whatever reason.
The Goodfellas goes so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone looks so cool.
Yeah. Did you do I guess it would be Lorraine Bracco and because Jenna did a series on Mobboy fashion, right? Was the series?
Yes.
That's what I was trying to reference.
Yeah. That was probably my worst performing series that I ever did. So I
really?
Yeah.
Were they too gaudy or what?
I don't know. I think maybe my audience is a little more feminine and wasn't as interested in all the mafia films. But I had just watched The Sopranos and I was very influenced by it. And so I wanted something about it that I just love. And it just, I don't know. My husband is from Southern Italy and there's a lot of cultural things that.
Oh, yeah.
The Atlantic. It kind
Did
of
he watch it with you?
Yeah, he watched it with me. He loves it too. So, I mean, obviously he's not mafia adjacent, but there's just like cultural things that feel very specific that I feel more connected to now.
It's big in the plot line. I mean, even I think like the Columbus Day episode, right? Is when Fury was like, I hate the North. And, he's talking about like they hate all the, I think it was common theme, I believe, like on the show, right? That like none of the Italian Americans really know anything about Italian history or culture or anything like that. They just have like this idea in their head.
There's like 2 episodes, maybe it's just 1 episode where they do go to Naples, which was really
with Tony's cousin that he's attracted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does your well, I'm not going to ask you to call it your husband, I guess, but the I thought it was interesting on the show that they also kind of parodied the Italians too. Of like you have the mob boss in that episode. He's like George Washington Bridge, he's like John Wayne or like whatever he's saying on that. And then there's a great actually it's one of my favorite I think endings of the entire show. I think it's the last time they portray in season 6, like the real Italians, the people that they call over to try and whack Phil Leotardo, and they end up getting Phil's Guma's dad, I believe, is like the spoiler alert for a 20-year-old show, but like, because he's also like an old guy with white hair. And it kind of shows, I think there's like the montage of Artie, I think it's his last time on the show, of like him like gingerly looking at his grandpa's, I think it's his grandpa or his dad's old recipe book, I want to say, from Italy. He was the Italian immigrant. And it shows the Italian guys becoming Americanized on the plane, of like, they're like, look at these, watches and HD TV. And it's like, yeah. That must have been fascinating to watch it, like, I guess with a Southern Italian.
It's always interesting because, I mean, I feel like American culture is so influenced, especially like American cinematic culture is so influenced by Italian immigrants, because like the New York Revolve, the Goodfellas, the Godfather, all this feels so like important to the idea of America, especially like in cinema. Like, what's more American than the Godfather? Like, I'm super interested in like, the immigrants come over, they have no real power, and so they make their own power, and that feels like the most American story there is.
Yeah, especially relevant into like literally right now, unfortunately, with everything that's going on. Yeah. So anyway, watching Sopranos must have been fun. Yeah. You liked it as well?
Yeah, I loved it. I'm a huge Mad Men fan, and so it's been on my list because I know the creator of Mad Men was a writer on the show, and I watched the first episode maybe like once or twice, and I just was like, I'm not into this. I don't know. I'm not getting into it. Then I like sat down and really decided to watch it, and it's so cinematic. It's so interesting. It's so beautiful. I feel like it holds up really well. Yeah. Like the 90s looks and like the early 2000s, like that's when I was a kid, and just like Sopranos home feels like a lot of the homes I was in as a kid, and like all the moms I knew had like the Carmela French tips and stuff. Like it felt very,
that's great.
Took me back. It made me very nostalgic, even though
all my aunts, that and Goodfellas for me. A lot of my aunts and stuff looked like the wives in there.
Yeah.
It was I really like the it's like, I was shocked when I first watched it. I probably watched it like 3 or 4 times now, and I was shocked how much of like it's a family show. Like, it is mobster stuff, but that's really like the main villain in the show, at least for the first like 3-4 seasons, is his mom, which I just like didn't. It's funny, the popular conception of like it's all gabagool and this and gabagool that, but it's like a guy being owned by his mom for 3 years.
And she's so great. What's her name? Who plays mom is
Nancy Marchand, I believe.
Yeah, she's incredible. Just
tremendous.
Yeah, that's like the reputation is that like it's so violent, and sometimes that stuff is hard for me to watch long term, like I don't mind a 2-hour movie, but like I'm watching every night. But it's like these surprising explosions of intense violence, but mostly you're right, it's like family drama, it's personal drama of Tony trying to figure out like his own ethos and his own purpose in life, and it's much more kind of intimate and kind of spiritual than like mob wars.
Yeah, I think the worst like violence on the show, or the hardest thing to watch for me, is just when him and Carmela yell at each other. Like, I think there's a couple scenes, especially when they're like getting divorced and stuff. It's like those are gut wrenching to watch. Like, it's just so like real.
Yeah.
Just brutal.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So this week we watched. So Jenna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. So we. I've been wanting to have Jenna on the podcast for a while, so we've been following each other for quite a while. She has a great account, love her account. We do very similar things. Hers is more strictly fashion oriented, but also gets, I feel like, a fair amount into the movies. Is more thematic, more professional, I would say. I would say to my account. But it's a great account. Yeah. And so we were thinking about a lot of different movies to watch, and I can't remember how we got on Meek's Cutoff. So why did you pick Meek's Cutoff? Like, why did this sort of bubble up?
Yeah, we were talking about Westerns, and I just have such a strong memory of watching Meek's Cutoff. And I grew up in Utah, where like pioneers and Westerns and kind of that whole thing is a very big part of just like literally the landscape and kind of the history of the place. And so watching Meek's Cutoff, I felt like I'd never seen the West portrayed in this way, and
Hmm.
it felt so specific and real and not like creating a mythology about the West, but more
Yeah.
just like it felt like what I imagine it might have actually felt like to be a pioneer crossing the plains. And I had got very different narratives around that experience when I was growing up, and it just blew me away. And it's so centered on the women, which are
Mm.
always shoved to the side, especially in Westerns. And I just really love it. I feel like it's a very like delicate and slow and interesting Western and not your kind of typical fare.
Yeah. I loved it too. Thank you for picking this.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, it's tremendous. Um, Me and my brother both like my brother Matt. Shout out my brother Matt. We've kind of had this like running thing that like the only good modern directors are women. Just because like I just like the last like Locky Mara. I think I've said this list, but like Janet Planet, Locky Mara, Baby Girl, The Teacher's Lounge, and I can't remember the fifth one. But like it seems like all the only movies like that like really blow me away today are being made by ladies. And so neither of us had seen a Kelly, is it Kelly Reichardt? I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither of us had seen a Kelly Reichardt film, and yeah, this was like shockingly like I was like, I can't believe I've never seen this.
It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so right up my my alley too. When we get to the movie recommendations part, I'm gonna I thankfully have this by, but the Werkmeister Harmonies by Bella Tarr.
Okay.
Bella Tarr is famous for. Have you seen a Bella Tarr like the Horse of Turin? Maybe I think it was his
Oh,
or
I don't
Satan
think so.
Tango. He's this Hungarian guy who's known for like he's very Kelly Reichardt coded. I will say is
Okay.
like the in the best way. I think Werkmeister Harmonies is 2.5 hours long and it has 40 shots. I think.
Uh-huh.
So it's like a 10-minute shot of like a truck slowly like pulling up to the camera is like how he does this thing. I think
Uh-huh.
he did a 7-hour one I think called Satan Tango that I'm going to watch soon that has I think 150 shots and it's just yeah, so just all the slow moving stuff. So yeah, this was like yeah, just tremendous. I don't know, it's like everything about it I loved. I honestly the cinematography like it could probably just geek out for hours just about the cinematography of it because it's probably the best looking movie I've seen. I mean, it's literally it's certainly up there of like the last like. And I'm such a hater. If you watch my channel, like viewers out there, I'm such a hater of like modern cinematography. But she did it so opposite, where it's like she filmed it in the Academy ratio, like the smaller, more narrow ratio, the old Academy ratio. Almost
Uh-huh.
everything was in focus, and it was really long shots with very very few cuts, very quiet. So
I feel
yeah.
like the oh my gosh, the aspect ratio kind of helps with this like claustrophobic thing, this claustrophobic feeling of them kind of being trapped. And like so often with Westerns, you want like ultra wide cinema scope so you can see like the vistas and the sky. But I really like how she like shoots the wilderness where it feels like there is nothing here. Like it's
Hmm.
not beautiful
Yeah.
landscape framed. It's just like there's nothing. There's no water, there's no anything. It's just like the boredom of just being out in the middle of nowhere really hits, I think, in the way she shoots it.
Yeah, yeah. Jen and I were talking I think, a little bit before the pod about. I think the last place I visited was Utah. And it's something I've always noticed. Like I noticed, so I grew up in Massachusetts halfway, in Tennessee halfway, and when I went to college in Tacoma, Washington, for my first college before I got booted. But as part of that, like I think to go back there one year, we did a trip cross country. I think I've done 2 cross country trips, and if you do a cross country trip, I think like around North Dakota, for me at least, or like the Dakotas and like that whole sort of strip of states from North Dakota down to Texas, it's like this is a huge fucking country. It's like this is such a huge country and there's nothing here. There's just zilch. And he also, I feel like I noticed that every time I fly over Utah or Nevada or something, it's like, this is just the moon. Like for large parts of it, there's like, okay, you got like a fairly, but even like Salt Lake, Salt Lake City is a weird town. I think in many ways, it was a weird to be in a town because I've lived in New York City. I lived in a couple other, places and everything. I felt like I was like people were afraid of me in Salt Lake. Like I felt like I was one of the tougher people walking, like just in terms of like downtown, like
tough guy.
Yeah, like normally it's like I'm not a tough guy. It's like normally it's like I'd be, like, ooh, I should like, maybe I'm scared of this or scared of that. I'm not really in cities at all, but like in Utah, I was like, I could see like I'm the one sort of getting the looks of like, oh, do I need to cross the street or something? And just because it's like it's such a huge city too. It's like a square block is like a mile by a mile or something, the grid.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole movie felt very, from what the little I've seen of Utah and flown over it and driven through it, very Utah coded. Wide open spaces.
Why? Yeah, it's I grew up in just outside of Salt Lake City, and so there was a lot of like narratives around pioneers because of the Mormon pioneers. And my dad is like a real outdoorsman. And so like we would go backpacking like into the wilderness, like off trail and stuff. So I feel like wilderness and the feeling of being, like alone in the wilderness and all you have is what you packed feels like my childhood, because that's the sort of like camping that I would do growing up. And it just feels this movie captures that in a way that I think is kind of hard to capture in a story.
Yeah, very sparse. And she did such a it's sparse dialogue, it's sparse sparse dialogue, sparse cinematography, sparse editing, very like just very like very wide open and empty, I guess. And like the importance of like every little, like the whole recurring theme is like the water of like they have just a barrel of water and it's like, well, we got 2 days and maybe that's it. And then it's like the wagon collapses at some point and it's like you can just see the tiny amount of water drip out and it's just devastating.
It's like I put in my notes as I was watching it, it's like a slow motion horror. Like things are getting worse and worse, but it's not like chases or action scenes. It's just like slowly descending into this survival situation. And it's just this nightmare unfolding, going from bad to worse. It's like the anxiety of it feels very potent, I think, watching it.
Yeah, I need to watch it again, to be honest with you, because I didn't get as much of the anxiety, but I think that's my fault as a viewer, I think, because I was just so like loving the cinematography. I was like, this is so, in the editing, I was just like so happy watching it. I was like, oh, these people are dying. That's so cool.
Right.
Yeah.
They look great doing it.
Yeah, they look fantastic doing it. Yeah. Shout out Michelle Williams too. She's she's like on my dream list of people to work with if I, in my dream, if I ever get to be a famous Hollywood person. She just takes such interesting roles and is so good at so many different things.
If you liked this, you got to watch Wendy and Lucy, which is also Kelly Reichardt and Michelle Williams, and it's really good.
I think my brother, I'm going to add that to my Rex list. I think my brother got Old Joy, I want to say.
Okay.
But I'm going to watch everything. Like, this is, like, sometimes it's just, like, one movie and I'll watch everything that someone does. It's like, she'd have to make a couple of really bad movies for me to just, like, skip out on a couple now.
I still haven't watched her First Cow, I think is kind of her most famous movie. I haven't watched it yet. And she had a new one at Cannes this year. Yeah.
I'm amazed she's got to make as many movies as she has. That's also me and my brother Matt were like, dismally laughing. Like, how did anyone give this lady money? It's like, I honestly think like, cause it's like, and not like, I don't mean that like, for the viewer, like it's also a recurring thing in a frustration on my channel of like, Nancy Dowd, who wrote Slapshot, pretty much only got to write Slapshot. And it's one of the best written movies I think ever. Joyce, I think it's Joyce Chopra wrote, Smooth Talk, or she wrote and directed. I think she wrote and directed Smooth Talk. I don't know if you've seen it with Laura Dern and Treat Williams. You'd probably love it. It's weird. It's like no one's ever heard of it, but she only got to make that. Catherine Bigelow famously struggled and struggled and struggled, and I'm amazed that Kelly Reichardt, if her movies are this slow and everything, the fact that she was able to get this movie made just seems like a mammoth achievement. Like, I can't even imagine how like a dude with a lot of artistic credibility would get this made. Like, just in terms of like finding the money and the people to do it.
I mean, there's definitely, like, it's based on a real wagon train party that was led by a Stephen Meeks that got lost. But I don't know of any, there probably is somewhere, but I feel like the fact that it's just 3 wagons, I feel like really speaks to the budget that they just pared it down to these like very small group, because I'm almost sure the real one was much bigger, and usually they were bigger parties because more people is more resources and it's safer. So the fact that it's so small, I feel like is the only thing that kind of speaks to the like clear budgetary restraints. But it also just works like as a story, you can keep track of everyone if it's just these 3 families.
It's almost like an outdoor, I mean, in the same way it's like those what do they call them, like kitchen sink dramas or bedroom dramas, like, you know, or like 12 Angry Men, you know, obviously all in one room, Arsenic and Old Lace all in one room. It's another great movie to point to for like when people, I get into arguments with people about like you need a lot of budget, or it's like, oh, how can they do this or that. It's like, well, she made one insanely good movie on like probably $1 million budget and with like 6 characters or something, or 8 characters and 3 wagons.
I was reading about it, and actually they went out, you know, they're in like the middle of nowhere in Oregon, I think. And they were based in this like small town, and actually, like, I mean, it's a tiny movie, but this town is so small that they were kind of based in, that they were kind of like an economic like influx for this town. Like, they were hiring people to help work on the film and kind of like gave this economic boost to this movie, even though it's clear that the budget for the movie was so small. That's kind of speaks to like how remote this area was. That like this was like Hollywood come into town with this tiny independent production. It's really something. I'm so excited to watch the rest of her stuff, and I would absolutely encourage you, the viewer, to watch all of it, and let me know if there's like other recommendations on it. So to pair with it, this ended up, to me, I'd be curious about your thoughts on the pairing. So I paired The Hanging Tree by Delmer Daves, which ended up being really good timing, because I have just completed, me and my housemates, one of my housemates have been on a quest to watch every Delmer Daves movie. And so The Hanging Tree was one of the first ones we watched. I had seen, it was the second one of his that I had watched. I'd watched 3:10 to Yuma and then The Hanging Tree, and I was like, loved it. And then, you know, maybe a year later, it was probably a year or two ago, and then probably 6 months ago, we started doing Delmer Daves Mondays or something. And it was like, we're going to watch a Delmer Daves movie every Monday until we're done. And with some interruptions for, you know, various life stuff, we finally finished it a couple weeks ago, and then we rewatched The Red House, which we think is his best. And then we watched this one. Major content. I wore the shirt under it. I wore my Mulholland Drive shirt under it. You can't really see, you know, but the Red House is like, I don't know if you've ever seen Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, but it's like that level of lurid and gross. In 1947, so I would just content warning on it, because it's a shocking watch. Edward G. Robinson. But yeah, I wanted to pick, I think we had been talking about Westerns, and you have seen a ton of Westerns, because I think, was your dad or your grandpa like a big Western fan? Yeah, my dad and my grandpa loved Westerns. My dad liked Clint Eastwood, and my grandpa liked the
John
Duke.
Wayne?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. So very generational, but we watched a lot of Westerns, and then of course anything that was filmed in Utah. My dad is kind of a cinephile, and so he was always like, this was filmed in Utah, and we spent a lot of time when I was growing up in southern Utah, which like everything was filmed there, like
Monument Valley.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Yeah, like it's very...
Once Upon a Time in the West. That's like my number. Last time I was in Utah, I was like, can I get out there? Then it's like, you know, I was like, oh, I'll go there after work or after the conference I needed to go to. And you can't go to Monument Valley from Salt Lake City after work.
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. But it's really beautiful country. And I don't know, this is like a family thing, but my family only, I feel the same way now as a person. Like something is immediately more important if it was in a movie. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't, this place is important. It's in movies. And I
Yeah.
feel the same way now as an adult. Oh, that was in a movie. And
Utah is like the West. I mean, it's not only Searchers and Once Upon a Time in the West and all these places. This movie, I think actually The Last Wagon, which I hadn't seen, I don't think by the time that when we were talking about it, but I think Delmer Daves has another Western called The Last Wagon with Richard Widmark that I believe is filmed in Monument. It seemed in my head canon it is, because there's a lot of like the mesas and the buttes or whatever.
Yeah.
Very looks like Monument Valley. But I feel like the American West is like, because of Monument Valley, it's like that is like what the American West is, right? For most people.
Yeah. Like the iconic American West, you're probably thinking of someplace in Utah or
Yeah.
close. Like, I mean, Westworld was there, and my husband and I just watched all the Mission Impossible movies and Mission Impossible 2 when he's climbing at Dead Horse.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's a very popular filming location because it is, I mean, Utah is a weird place in a lot of ways, but it is incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
Or it's just like landscape and nature and
yeah, you'll get like landscape and nature, and then like isn't that also where like the FDLS is, probably in that corner of the state or something, or like more in rural Utah?
Yeah, the FLDS
FLDS.
Yeah. In the south they have a big compound out by close to where Zion National Park is. They have a big compound.
For the viewers, I should probably say that is the Fundamentalist Church of Latter-day Saints, who are like they're the ones known for more. There's a lot of documentaries about them on Netflix and other Warren Jeffs, if you've heard the name, and other stuff. But
they very actively practice polygamy.
I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, yeah.
That's something different.
Yeah, as opposed to the passive polygamist, which Jenna and I totally support.
Maybe everyone's dabbled a little bit, but
yeah. Who among us hasn't had multiple spouses?
Yeah. I just, I grew up Mormon. I don't consider myself to be anymore, but like the modern LDS church is like, they don't practice polygamy. They had to stop in order for Utah to become a state. And that's always like a sticking point. They're like, we're not polygamists anymore. So anyway. Yeah.
Probably I'd be curious, like we probably spend a whole pod talking about similar experiences on that, I would imagine. Just in different like expressions of it. Cause I grew up, halfway in East Tennessee, where it was also a thing of like most of my friends were like Baptists and Methodists and Lutherans and like just like, but Southern evangelical Protestant. But then there were like Church of Christ people who were like, there were still like snake handlers, It's the only church I wanted to go to and never got invited to. I was so pissed. I
got to say, that's got to be a more interesting Sunday service than.
Yeah. Especially this was around the time like Jackass was coming out. I was like, this is just Jackass.
Cool.
Like, yeah. Yeah. Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and welcome to the Church of Christ. We're going to see if I sin today. Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah, I would be interested in attending that service. I don't know if I'd want to actively participate, but...
yeah, I'm way too sinful. Yeah.
Or
maybe I'm not. I think I might have told this story once on the pod, but that was like when my mom's side's Jewish, which makes me like, religiously, I guess, like Jewish according to a lot of Jewish people and Christians. And I kept getting invited to churches when I was down in East Tennessee when I moved there. And they were all like, you got to be saved. You're going to go to hell, all this. But I was like, just casual. I was like, my mom's side's Jewish. And they're like, oh, why don't you tell it? Like, you don't like, oh, you're fine. You're like, you're chosen. Like, they're like, you wasted our time. And I didn't have to go to any more churches after that. I was like, that's sick.
Out. You're so lucky.
It actually, ironically, was like the biggest, like thing that they could do to like convert me. Cause I was like, I don't have to do anything and I'm just like chosen. Like, yeah, I'll believe whatever you want. So I can just go through doing whatever. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's it's a good selling point, I think. I think
Mormons have to do a whole 2-year trip, right?
You got to do so much, and there's so much that you can't do. You're so like locked down.
Yeah.
No coffee, no alcohol.
I do say we have we got a swig in my town in Tennessee. We were one of the first one, and so I'm a big dirty soda guy. I loved it.
I
Yeah.
I go home and I'm like, take me to Swig.
Yeah.
Take me.
Randomly, we have them in Tennessee now. I'm super happy about it. I
Hey,
love them.
listen, I feel like the most Utah thing about me is like my continuing affinity for a big soda. Like
Yeah.
I still love a big soda.
Have you explained the concept of dirty soda? So Jenna, not to, she lives somewhere in Europe, undisclosed location in Europe.
You can say I can say France.
You
It's,
could, yeah, you could probably guess by her screen name of Je ne sais quoi Paris, or it's in, it's Paris, France. So, undisclosed location somewhere there. But have you explained the concept of a dirty soda to Europeans? Does that that seems like it would just
I haven't.
break up NATO or something?
There are things. Sometimes it's so interesting. I sometimes I talk about like the way I grew up, and it is like mind blowing. But I don't think I've ever explained a dirty soda. Except, well, I have one friend who really likes The Secret Life of Mormon Wives, and she's from Ireland. And I've explained to her about like the giant sodas and you go to Swig and you get flavoring in your soda, and it's like a cocktail, and because you can't drink if you're Mormon. So instead, they make up these kind of other ways to like have a little treat.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's probably the most non-worded one that we could probably go into on pod. Yeah. I really like that. I really Crown Burger, I think it was.
yes, you went to
Yeah,
Crown Burger.
I did. I went there I think twice because I liked it so much.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want an experience of like being in a Burger King from the 1970s, go to Crown Burger in Salt Lake City.
There's
Loved it.
this is like deep Salt Lake lore. Like you can cut this out if it's not interesting to a
No,
wider
go ahead.
there's one Greek family that started Crown Burger and it became like an empire in Salt Lake. But then of course there was like some rift in the family at some point, and then now there's Apollo Burger and there's Crown Burger as like the two warring, but they're basically the same because it was like the same family that
That's
um,
cool.
great schism between the great burgers of Salt Lake. And
I thought it was Crown Burger and then the Fundamentalist Crown Burger, where like Fundamentalist Crown Burger, you get like to serve 2 burger meals or something. Yeah. It's really good though. I got the pastrami burger. Is that like a Utah thing?
Well, I don't know
Is
if
it
the
Crown
pastrami
Burger?
burger specific, but Crown Burger is like a specific Utah institution. There's actually a big Greek community in Salt Lake City, and so you can get like really great Greek food in Salt Lake. And the Crown Burger is like I said, it was a Greek family, and I don't know, they have great grilling skills. I don't know if it's specific to this Greek community in Utah, but like man,
Yeah.
their burgers they're so good.
Yeah. That's been my experience with shout out my friend George and Eftimios. I work with two Greek guys, and yeah, they're always showing me their big feasts. They have like 30 holidays for feasts.
Yeah.
That might be where I might move if I went to Europe. Dude, they're always inviting me. It's like, oh, we got feast of the third Tuesday of March. It's like, okay, and it's like, yeah, we're having a 38-course meal. It sounds great.
We had one of my husband's colleagues when we were in England was Greek, and he's like, "Come on over, I'm gonna have a barbecue." This was during like COVID, so it was like a big deal because he had a garden, so we could like get together outside. And we're like, oh, "Okay, like a barbecue, like grill up some burgers." No, it was like a huge thing. Like he had like made his own alcohol and stuff. It was like this huge. It was crazy and like incredible food. Everything was really
That sounds great.
great. Yeah, especially during like lockdown, it felt like the most extravagant thing you could possibly do.
Yeah. Well, speaking of getting grilled, I'll use that as a transition because I picked a hanging tree, Delmer Daves, and a lady gets cooked in there by the sun, basically, and she looks like a skewered piece of meat.
Yeah,
Probably one of the worst someone looks in like a 50s.
yeah. I was really surprised by how bad they made her look. Usually, like they get shot and there's no blood, or someone's dying and they still have like full makeup. She really looked dead. She really looked bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So what'd you think of it? Is this
I
your first
really
Delmer
liked
Daves movie?
I've seen 3:10 to Yuma.
Okay.
And maybe I've seen others and I just don't know who the director is. But
If your Westerns, it'd be Jubal or The Badlanders or Cowboy. would probably be or The Last Wagon or Broken Arrow would be like the other big
I
Dave's
think
westerns.
maybe I've seen Broken Arrow.
Okay. Jimmy
My
Stewart.
memory is not so good anymore these days.
Egregious whiteface, and Jimmy Stewart is like 50 dating like a 16-year-old white-faced Deborah Paget, or brown-faced Deborah Paget, I should say. It's not a fun watch. That was Hollywood's first Delmer Daves history. That was the first. He was the first among the first directors to have a positive portrayal of Native Americans. Was Delmer Daves, and Broken Arrow was like the genesis of like The Searchers. It was like actually one of the movies that caused we talked about Searchers, John Ford to do The Searchers, because he was just like, oh shit, we can do this now. I can like sort of attack white racism, and so he decided to like go heavy in on it with The Searchers and some of the other people as well.
I think maybe he was a little too progressive to be like in my dad and grandpa's
Daves.
Yeah. I don't know that they connected as much with his stuff, but I will probably get to pairings, but like the landscape in this also was so gorgeous, like the way they filmed it and the sets and stuff, having this like real town up in the mountains it looked so great, because I don't know, you can just see the studio so clearly in a lot of these old westerns, like they're outside for like 3 days and then everything very controlled studio with these kind of fakey looking trees, and like there's a certain magic to that, but this felt so
it felt there, like it felt like they were there for most of it. Absolutely. I noticed that on this watch too. I watched it just like, we're recording this pretty early because of the time difference, or late depending on who you are, and I watched it just like tonight and again, and it really did feel like you were out there. That's a great point.
It looked so beautiful, the river and the way everything is shot. So there's always people like running up these hills and down, and it creates so much like natural levels for like the composition. It looked really great.
I think it was Ted McCord, I want to say, who did the cinematography for this. It was Ted McCord, who, I don't know, he did The Sound of Music, so I mean, that makes sense. And he did East of Eden and Johnny Belinda, and I'm trying. Those are probably, looks like the most famous ones. I didn't really know him from the name. Looks like he worked with Michael Curtiz a lot, and that's cool. But yeah, the hanging tree. So the hanging tree. So you said it's you said something that it might you don't know if your dad and your grandpa might have been like interested in this like progressive. So did you feel this like was a fairly, what was your take on like the politics of this movie, or you think about between this and 3:10 to Yuma?
Actually, this one I actually think my dad would really like this one. I was thinking that when I was watching it, because I don't know that this. What am I trying to say here? My dad is very. He really believes in like protecting innocence, and he hates any sort of like violence against women or children. So I think he would. I mean, of course he does. So, and he loves a tough woman who's like gonna make her own way. So I think he would appreciate this one. But
that's
it's
very dad coded.
I mean, like Gary Cooper is very sort of morally gray. You're not quite sure. The whole movie, even at the end, I still feel like I'm not totally sure if he's like a good guy or a bad guy. But
it's interesting you say that. I put this in my list now. I added it to my list of monster mellow horror, and like for people on my viewers, like I have this like idea at some like that genre of like monster mellow horror about like othered people from like the 30s, 40s, and 50s, like movies told from like an othered person's perspective first, that kind of has like a lot of sympathy, but also is like they generally don't have great endings and is kind of critical, but like is the representation that a lot of like queer and women and neurodivergent and other people felt. I kind of put this one now, I think, almost in like a I struggle, like it's almost like PTSD. Like I was honestly like at this watch, I was like kind of shocked at the extent that they, on the first like 2 times I saw it, I didn't like it. Really is like both him and her, I feel like are just like struggling with PTSD in like a pretty horrific way. And I don't know that he's going to have a good ending at the end.
I was kind of on the fence. Like they do a very clear like save the cat moment with him early on in the movie. Like it seems clear that we're supposed to be on his side. Where
Yeah.
like the little girl comes to him and the parents can't pay for anything and they're like, how will we pay you? And he's just like, give me a kiss. And he gets a kiss from the little girl and he's like, that's
Yeah.
paid enough. But also like the way that he treats Rune, I don't know, like kind of forces him into like his
Yeah.
servant. You will be my manservant. And
So, yeah, this is why Delmer is such a fascinating director to me on that, because like I don't know either, and like I don't think he knows. Like he doesn't seem to be like, he's like an untherapized man. It feels like in terms of like his expression of his like film stuff, because
Yeah.
like there's a recurring theme of in his movies of there's a lot of like, one of the reasons I think he's like the closest like thing to Lynch, I always say, before Lynch, because there is just like a ton of intimate partner sexual and domestic violence like just through his movies, and there is a constant fear. There's like both a fear and like an awe of like women's sexuality and women like having their own power in a strange way for his movie, where in this movie it feels like he has a lot of empathy for it, but he's also terrified of it. And like,
yeah, I also felt
yeah,
I kind of was like, what is this movie saying? And I don't mean
I
that.
think, yeah. Well, not to spoil the Red House, but the Red House is Edward. Like it's like the Red House is like literally, it's so lurid because I literally take the title to mean the vagina, like because it's Edward G. Robinson has an adopted daughter, and he's like basically trying not to do anything with her for them. Like that is the movie. Is like it's that's why I said like content oriented, like the Red House, because it's like a brutal watch. And it's like there's like a 10-second kiss between like a son and his mom in that movie. It's the weirdest thing. It is the strangest thing.
Yeah.
And even to the point about like the kiss, like that was, I noticed a theme in this movie on this time when I was paying attention to a lot of the background. In the first couple watches, like I noticed it, but like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, he's saying something, I think like deeply progressive, I think, about like the relationship of like in criticizing like American and male attitudes towards women, and like comparing him, like the character of Frenchie, Carl Malden, is one of the most disgusting characters in movie history.
Yeah.
Like shocking. It's hard for me to watch other Carl Malden movies after this one.
Because he's
so bad.
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, just I love the scene where like when they find her and she looks awful and she's like she's all burned up on her face. He's like, but she's all woman below. And then it cuts to all the other guys there all just looking like, ugh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
But even that, like, yeah, but it's like it's such a dismal view of America too, because they start with that, but at the end it's like I think 2 out of 5 of those guys are like blocking a guy so he can try and like rape that woman.
Yeah.
At the end it's like, oh, we're gonna hold this guy down so you can, because he like gets a bunch of money, and it's like, geez, that's a it's a
Bleak.
awful scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was. I mean, those mining towns, from what I've like read and understand, like, and growing up in the West, like it was, for lack of a better word, the Wild West. Like they were so masculine, and it was people who, didn't have anything. So like uneducated, desperate people out in the middle of nowhere. It's like all men, and it just like.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it was.
And I think like I honestly see, like, I kind of wonder how, like, it seems like it's curious to me. So like the popular perception of Delmer Daves is like, if you go on like his Wikipedia or like otherwise, it's like, oh, he was a genial all-American director who believed in the good of people to conquer overall. And I just like, no, like I can't, like this movie especially, it's like, oh, as soon as this town gets a little bit of money, it's like they turn into a mob and they just start burning the town down and like, literally raping and trying to rape and pillage. And it's just like this thing that sort of like bubbled up, and it struck me as a very like anti-capitalist, like just a very, very progressive movie. Especially like in the way, like I thought the film's treatment of the thing I noticed is like it starts off with, I think, Gary Cooper talking about the kiss, like, oh, you can pay me with a kiss. And like it's a weird thing with Delmer Daves, because it's like that just looks worse having seen other Delmer Daves movies, and it also looks worse like coming after it, because it's like I kind of wonder how much of that was a parallel between like that and then like, because like I think it's like the next scene, or it's like in a lot of scenes it's like it's like when Rune enters the town, the first people he sees are sex workers, and then it's also like every man in the movie is constantly sort of treating a woman as sort of like fungible with gold. It's like, well, that's kind of even Frenchie's main thing. It's like, well, we hit our thing, so it's like, doesn't that get me? Yeah. It's like the comparison of that. It's like that's a really, I think like, almost like just kind of a progressive take on like, in like a very dismal take on like the idea of just like women's place in the Old West, and like in a way that I haven't seen in a lot of old Western movies to this extent. Yeah. But also he has a thing where I think he himself is scared of it, so his scenes are like they're just like almost too brutal in a way, like they're hard to watch, I guess, in a way that like I don't know, it's also it's like it's almost too comfortable in the uncomfortableness, him as a director, in a way that's like I don't know, I never know how to feel about it. It's like I don't think he should be the guy making the movie, but also he's the only guy making the movie. You know, if that makes sense.
He's like, definitely, yeah. I mean, it's really interesting. And I like movies where it's like not clear exactly, and I don't even know that I think stuff is clearly here, but he may not even be aware of it, like you're saying, like maybe, men will have a whole filmography instead of going to therapy. Like there's really
oh my God, can I steal that line? I'm literally going to open, because I'm going to do a video. I'll credit you for it, but I got to steal that line. This is my own descent into taking credit for women's work. I'm not crediting you. Yeah. Men will have that is such a great title for it. Oh my goodness. Sorry, go ahead.
Like, it just seems like he's working through some stuff that he may not even be like fully aware of, but I still like appreciate that, like he is centering a woman's experience kind of in this world. And like I said, I mean, my watching conditions watching this movie were not ideal, so I may have like missed some things, and I would love to watch it again. But like he's very protective of her, but also like those women come out to see her and like see if she's okay. And I know like in the story those women suck, but it's also kind of like that's not a crazy thing to do. Like this woman is all alone with these men in this weird place. Yeah. They're like, go check and make sure she's okay. And I know they're coming with like in the context of the story, they're coming with a lot of judgment, but like, I don't know. If
I was not totally. Yeah. I didn't judge him as much for that. Yeah. I did judge him for like, it's like her saying it's like, we're going to find out if she's a harlot or if she's getting kidnapped. Like those are the only two options. Like either she's a harlot or she's kidnapped,
I felt complicated feelings about, it's Elizabeth, right? Is the main character?
Yeah, I believe so.
Her kind of like falling in love with Gary Cooper.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then you kind of wonder like what Rune's whole thing is in the
what is Rune's whole thing?
Yeah,
I'm very fascinated by the whole, like I said, I don't totally know what to make of all the dynamics. I think it's interesting and I feel like there's something there, but I don't totally like have a handle on kind of create this found family like out of force and almost violence. It's strange.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like Cooper's character, it's like, I don't know at the end, like, I don't know if he's like, is he going to be upset if he found out that she was getting like assaulted, because he'd have to kill her and the guy, or just kill the guy? Because it's like almost left up like what happened. Like he's never explained what's happened between his brother and his wife. It's just he killed them, then he burned the house down. Men will literally kill their brother and their wife and then burn their house down rather than go to therapy.
Because I was worried that maybe I missed something with that, because he talks about like it was his brother and his wife and he burned the house down, and then he finds Frenchie with her, and I'm like, is this supposed to like mirror this? Is this supposed to like give us some insight into what that situation was with his wife? Like, did his brother kill his wife and then he burned the house down to like kind of, I don't know. It's very strange.
It is very, very strange.
It's a strange movie, but interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. it is like I do wonder like what all he was sort of intending on subtext, because the subtext, like the thing that we always like say, me and my housemates always say just about his movies, is that just the vibes are off. He has the worst vibes in his movies.
Terrible vibe.
Yeah, he has a gift for it. You said something a couple minutes ago about, I think like it, like he seemed to almost be working through some stuff. I really want to contact his family. Probably if you know Delmer Daves or Delmer Daves' family, please reach out. I would be curious if he was the child of divorce, is my theory on him. I haven't found anything about it, but like his very first movie that he ever got written by himself was about a divorced kid, his parents, and his very last movie he made right before he died, The Battle of the Villa Fiorita, is about these two kids watching their mom cheat on their dad. And in terms of when I said like women's sexuality or sexual violence or inter-partner theme, just reading off his biography, like or his filmography in 1954, Demetrius and the Gladiators is a biblical epic in which there's this like a sexual violence scene. The Last Wagon, I think has a scene, has like elements of it. Jubal has a very brutal scene with Glenn Ford and Rod Steiger. 3:10 to Yuma has a scene where it's like it's very much like I think like Van Heflin is worried about his wife being attracted to like Glenn Ford, and there's like a flirtatious thing. Cowboy's just gay. I will say Cowboy doesn't have that. Kings Go Forth has a little bit of it. The Badlanders has it. The Hanging Tree has it. A Summer Place has it. Parrish has it. Susan Slade, but like all these things have either like some type of weird domestic situation or like assault or violence in a way that is just like recurring through his work in just very strange ways. There's like 3 different movies where a child tries to kill himself. Yeah, it's in weird ways. Like it, not to spoil Youngblood Hawk, but a 9-year-old like hangs himself in that movie in it's crazy, in 1964, because his mom's getting divorced or something.
We're talking about this where I'm like, I don't know what it means or what he's trying to say, but like you don't mean that as like a criticism per se. Like
No,
it's clearly like, especially in the 50s and 60s and stuff, Hollywood was very like kind of black and white, like this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. The American family is the center of everything, and that's the most important thing. And it's really interesting to see someone who is clearly wrestling with like the complexity of domestic life in a really interesting way, and in a very like honest way that you don't see in these older. I mean, you know, there's always interesting, thoughtful movies from all times, but it feels unusual in this time to kind of be wrestling with these sort of like gender roles and moral ambiguity and never fully resolving if someone is good or bad or whatever.
Yeah, well, I think your point about him not being like, I don't take that as an insult like at all. He's like on the like the scale of like knows what he's doing or doesn't know what he's doing, or like instinctual versus like, you know, Kubrick or someone. Although I think Kubrick is probably like highly instinctual as well. He just seems to be purely a vibes instinctual director in like a way like, you know, I don't know if his IQ was anything more than like 94, but he just kind of had this instinct to like be drawn. But I don't think like David Lynch, you know, as much as I love him, I wouldn't call him like a cerebral. Like, I don't think he's thinking about, like, how is this Lacanian Marxist thing, film theory, whatever. I think he's just like, I want to see this on screen. It looks good.
That's a pretty good David Lynch impression. I love vibes, and I love artists who trust their vibes to this extent and I feel the same way about David Lynch. I don't know that he necessarily knows exactly what his movies mean or like what's supposed to be conveying. I think you're right. Like he has this vision that he's connected to on some level, and he just wants to fulfill it, and is like open to mystery and surprise. And I think that's some of like the most interesting filmmaking and storytelling. And I'm always really jealous of artists who trust their own vision to that extent, because I tend to be like, well, what does that mean? And is that like, does that not make sense? Are people going to get it? Do I get it? Like, I wish I was just following vibes and just seeing what happens and putting like the force of my own like creative whatever
Yeah.
behind something that I'm making. It's always super interesting. I think Miyazaki is similar too. Like
Yeah. For sure.
The Boy and the Heron, like I don't even think he really knows what that movie is about, but it
Yeah.
feels it feels important and necessary and somehow true on some level that's beyond just like intellectualism.
Yeah. I need to see that movie. My buddy came back from it and said, "Yeah, I heard like half of it because weirdly when I was watching Killers of the Flower Moon, my theater was really quiet, but The Boy and the Heron was really loud. So I was like the only one in the theater. So I was kind of like halfway hearing it through the first half of Killers of the Flower Moon. And I was kind of upset. But my buddy came back from watching Boy and the Heron. And he just said, "Man, Miyazaki really hates his son." I was like, "That sounds like an interesting movie."
There's
Yeah.
it's yeah, like it's really rich if you kind of know his personal history with his son and stuff. But I think it also just works. This sort of Joseph Campbell like myth of like defeating your father and going on like a spiritual quest. It also works just like on that level, but it's really interesting. He's a really
Yeah.
interesting maker.
Absolutely. So one thing I think on the vibes, so this kind of goes into an interesting factoid that I found out about the hanging tree when I was just looking up. And so one thing I think like on the vibes stuff, I think part of the reason Delmer's vibes feels messed up around domestic, intimate partner and sexual violence is because he is very much filming it like a dude. I think like it's very much dude perspective in his movies. Which was a contrast, obviously, as you pointed out, to well, it's not a contrast to basically all westerns up until probably Kelly Reichardt. In terms of like, maybe I haven't seen Power of the Dog yet. I really want to, but I'm imagining Jane Campion probably would do more of a lady's perspective, or at least like take it into consideration more. But Delmer's like very much like he's terrified of women. He's terrified of women's sexuality. He's terrified of women's power, and he's filming it from like a third party perspective where he just doesn't understand it. It feels like. Now, so the reason I say it was an interesting factoid is I don't know if you had looked up the origin of the hanging tree at all or any of the stuff, but I didn't know this until just a couple hours ago. But I like just kind of crunched on this. I found a thesis that a lady had written about the hanging tree. The book that it's based on, and it was written by an author named Dorothy Johnson. So it's based on, interestingly enough, this movie, The Hanging Tree, was based on a book written by a woman. And apparently Dorothy Johnson, I don't know her too much, but she famously did a lot of the old Western numbers. She did like The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which I think also John Ford, I think also was shot in Utah. Mm-hmm. And she did like some other stuff, and like there's a great like picture of her, I think on like a biography or something, of like it's her surrounded by like Gary Cooper and John Wayne and Clint Eastwood and all these guys of like who they were like playing characters that this like old prim librarian looking lady basically did. Yeah. Now the reason I thought it was fascinating, and this turned out to be I think a really neat and interesting pairing, was because of the story behind this book, The Hanging Tree, which was, I took a bunch of notes here from this. So I'm quoting from this manuscript, which I'll try and remember to link in the comments. And I'm just going to shout it out because I know I'm going to forget. It is called "Writing a Western Woman's Life: Agoraphobia in Dorothy M. Johnson's The Hanging Tree" by Jean Myslowski Emery, the University of Montana, 1993. And so she writes that this book was originally written as a novel-length manuscript entitled The Prisoner of Skull Creek. The eventually published novella endured nearly 10 years of rewrites as editors and agents advised Johnson to shift her focus from her cabin-bound female protagonists to the more dramatic storyline involving the main characters. This thesis includes a detailed analysis of the unpublished original manuscript and extensive correspondence between Johnson and numerous agents and editors from 1951 to 57. Few, if any, have ever read The Hanging Tree as Elizabeth's story, even though that was a story Johnson wanted to tell when she began working on it in the 1940s. What if, she asked herself after seeing 2 Western films about men lost in the desert, what if instead of having a bunch of men lost and thirsty in the desert, how about making it a woman? This makes for a terrible problem. How in the world did she get out there in the first place? And there is another less well-known side to Johnson. This later goes on talking about her writing male characters. More than half of Johnson's published works are told from the viewpoint of women, children, and Native Americans, an all too rare perspective in the Western fiction of her day. Even the seemingly hackneyed The Hanging Tree was originally conceived as a tale of a young woman suddenly abandoned in the Wild West. And it goes on to say it was basically... she basically just got hammered by editors. The story began making the rounds of publishers with little success. The 65,000-word novel she called The Prisoner of Skull Creek, Elizabeth, one editor concluded, was tiresome. Johnson was urged by publishers and editors to downplay the woman's angle. A Random House editor worried that the book fell between 2 stools. It's not a straight action Western, but as a novel placed down with the background with psychological overtones and symbolism, it does not seem to quite come off. By 1957, long tired of reworking the story and eager to finally get some financial remuneration for years of work, Johnson sold the novel-length piece to Ballantine Books, who accepted the story under the condition that it be drastically cut to fit in a collection of short stories. Rechristened and now only 39,000 words, The Hanging Tree became, as a result, less about a woman lost in the desert and the consequences of that event than about Doc Joe Frail, a loner with a secret past, unrivaled skin with a pistol and a deck of cards, and a fated meeting with frontier justice and the end of a hanging rope. One editor described Elizabeth as too true to the period, implying that this publication house at least believed the book-reading public was not interested in stories reflecting deep-seated psychological anxieties about the Western experience for women. How tragic.
Yeah, I'm interested in deep-seated psychological studies about the Western experience from a woman's perspective. That's... I would be interested.
Yeah, as evidenced by Meek's Cutoff. I thought it was basically it seems like she tried to write Meek's Cutoff.
Yeah.
And the editors are like, no, you don't.
No one cares what women think or feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to get into pairing yet, but they do pair well
Sure.
together, these 2 films. It kind of feels like you said, this is kind of the fulfillment of like a female voice and sort of a Western perspective. But also I was thinking about like this wagon train from Meek's Cutoff. They're out looking for, riches or a better life. It's not unreasonable that they would end up in this mining town. Like after they escape this wilderness, there's like another wilderness of men waiting for them at their destination of, wildness and violence that is like still just out there even when they get to where they're going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I thought it paired it pairs well as like inversions, like it's just opposites, because one is like very, I feel like Hanging Tree is like pretty bombastic. It's like pretty melodramatic. It's pretty loud. Yeah, it's pretty pacing, and like opposite of that is Meek's Cutoff. I think one is very very male perspective. One is very very women perspective. Also, but both do have. I was literally about to say that, a big wagon crash.
Sorry,
I wrote that in my notes. That's right.
Your thought. But
No,
we watch a wagon tumble down a hill in a very dramatic fashion for both. But for one is kind of the inciting incident, and for the other, it's kind of the final nail in the coffin.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I loved the way Meek's Cutoff ended on that. That's also like another opposite thing. Like I feel, well, I mean, kind of opposite. Like I guess Hanging Tree sort of builds to like an explosion, and then it is an ambiguous ending. Meek's Cutoff kind of doesn't really build, and it's I don't know. I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't. But they're both ambiguously ending, I think.
Yeah, I think
if you know the history, right? The history isn't the spoiler, and the history of it is they all die in Meek's Cutoff, except Meek.
Some of them got to where they were going.
Okay.
I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure some of them got there. I meant to look it up, but I just didn't have time to do it. But I think a fair amount died.
Yeah.
Not everyone survived, but it was like definitely a bigger wagon train, and I know because I'm pretty sure, like I said, that small town that they were in, shooting it, a lot of the people there claimed that they were descendants of like the Stephen Meek party.
Oh, that's interesting.
So like, you know, again, like growing up in Utah, the pioneer heritage is like a huge thing. Like, you know, there's still echoes of this like westward expansion that are still like the reason people live in these places, or white people live in these places, is because these pioneers came out, and there's still like a strong connection that people feel with that sort of narrative of being, having pioneer ancestors is still a big.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Has that been like undergone any like retroactive evaluations like lately? Like, is the younger generation still as much, or is it still like kind of? Is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna make the comparison with like the South, of like people saying like, you know, my great grandfather fought in the Civil War or something on the Confederate side. It's like you don't really want to say that too much anymore for good reason, I think.
Yeah, there used to be. I mean, Utah is a very conservative place, and Mormonism is very conservative as a culture. And I don't know. I can't speak to it because I've been kind of out for a while. But like when I was growing up, it was very much like a faith promoting story about the pioneers, and they always like trusted in God and their faith, and that He delivered. And you know, that's part of why I liked Meek's Cutoff so much, is because these pioneer stories were always framed in this, you know, like manifest destiny, like we will triumph over the wilderness, and we were led here by God, and we're supposed to be here. And Meek's Cutoff is really like the inverse. It's just like people out in the middle of nowhere. They don't know what they're doing. They're just like hoping that they get where they're going, and just the unknowingness, whereas everything was always presented in like they knew it was the right thing, and they knew these struggles would get them where they needed to go. And it just was like a very big flip on the pioneer narrative that I was always sold growing up. For
sure. Yeah, I really loved especially how they did that with the character of Meek. Especially like this is like, you know, I did a video on like, I love, you know, I never subscribed to the idea that like, you know, obviously I'm starting 10 sentences again, but like I love seeing movies made in part about men by women, and also seeing movies about women made by men, because they reveal fascinating things, I think. And you know, even though I think this movie is largely about the women and told from the women's perspective, the character of Meek in particular, I thought she nailed a certain type of like, we're both TikTok, Instagram people. She nailed a certain type of like conservative influencer, badass, like just bullshitter so well in a way that feels so relevant to like, you know, like all the like tactical coffee guys or whatever that are like make the rounds on Instagram and TikTok, where it's just like, this guy's just bullshit.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But he just like, I was really struck with watching Meek's Cutoff, and it feels like a still very relevant experience to like be a woman, and you just have to decide like which man you're going to trust. Like male doctors, male politicians, you're just like out here, and there's still so many men in like positions of authority, and you're just kind of like, I guess I just got to pick which one I think is the closest. It felt very...
Is it the guy who's basically an alien who I can't understand, drawing secret signs that this other guy's telling me he's going to kill me? Or is this guy who I know is abusing this prisoner?
Yeah. It's like, I know this guy is just like full of shit, but this other guy might be slightly less, but he also might be trying to kill us.
Sounds like large sections of voting in America, to be honest with you.
Exactly. You're like, well, I know this guy sucks, but who are you gonna just?
When I volunteer coached ice hockey for no one, they shouldn't have let me do this. They should have. I was very good. I was a very diligent coach, but I volunteer coached a bunch of like 12 and 13-year-olds a couple of years ago for ice hockey, and I remember it was like during COVID. And a couple of them asked me, like, you know, is this like, what's going to happen? Like, is this going to be like, or like, who should I like, is it going to come back? Should I do this? Should I do that? The only thing I can say is like protect yourself at all times. It's like you're not going to be able to. It's like I don't know how to trust anyone. You gotta learn how to do this. Like it's going to be tough.
You just gotta take care of yourself. But it did feel like modern voting and just like just being in this position of like you don't know what the right choice is, but you just gotta make one and hope for the best. But it's the last, I don't know if it's the last shot, but near the end they have Michelle Williams framed in that tree where she's just like literally trapped by this landscape and this situation. It's so good.
Yeah. And you know the voting thing actually, it's obviously I know we were both of the mind that it's intent is not everything, right, at all in movies, but like when I read something about this, I thought it was interesting that she intended this a bit as an allegory to George W. Bush, like Meek in particular, around the Iraq War, because like I think she was, as I understand it, she was trying to show like a guy thinking like, oh yeah, I know the Middle East, like they're going to treat us as liberators. It's all going to be good. We're going to go in there. Everything's going to be good. But then like it's just kind of shown that they don't understand anything about this alien and foreign land that they're in. And they don't even have a way of like communicating with the people that are there. They don't have a way of like they don't even know where water is. It's like which I thought was cool.
It's one of those things where like it's sort of relating to a specific time in which it was made, but like the specific is the personal is universal, where it's like it can be applied to so many different situations still. Yeah.
It was quite good. I definitely had Wagon Crash as far as like the comparisons and like the pairings of both of them. Did you have other ones that you like, Wagon Crashes, and that they paired or that they were notably different?
I mean, also just like we talked about this a little bit, but just like these women in these wild situations. Also in The Hanging Tree, it's just a woman trying to decide who she should trust. Like she gets into business with Frenchie, like maybe she shouldn't have, but like there was an opportunity there, and just kind of like weighing her options and trying to figure out what the right way to go is. Felt and like at the beginning, the family that comes to the doctor with their malnourished child, and I was like, this is how this wagon train is going to end up. If everything goes the best that it possibly could at this point, they're still going to end up in the middle of nowhere. There's the one woman who's pregnant, and it's like the struggle is not going to end for them, even if they find water, even if they get where they're going. It's very bleak, kind of both stories.
Definitely. Yeah, I remember thinking, I was like, when she first went to business with Frenchie, I was like, why would you do that? Like when I first watched it, I was like, radar. But then I was thinking like, well, you hear about like Gwyneth Paltrow stories of Harvey Weinstein. It's like, if she wanted to do this thing, it's like, probably she had some element. I'm not saying like in any way blaming, or I hope that doesn't like, Gwyneth Paltrow is like responsible. Like she knew what she was getting into, or like any of these ladies that went to. It's just like, that was the way to get, like, you want to be an actress, and it's not like there were a lot of great producers. Imagine, like during that time.
You're kind of like, I know this is going to suck, but like, this is a way that I can make a life for myself out here in this weird place that I found myself. And maybe I can just hold him off long enough. I feel like every woman has kind of done that calculation in her head in some sort of work situation where I'm like, oh, well, maybe I can just, like make it work. Or maybe if I'm just like but a little cold, I can kind of just
which she does. She's like, all right, we're gonna mine gold together, but I'm going into town to sleep. It's like, that's such like a
oh geez, yeah,
she's just actively being like, well, you may assault me, but I'm gonna it's not gonna be at night, at least.
Oh man, yeah, I mean, there's not that same threat in Meek's Cutoff. I feel like, I don't know if Kelly Reichardt just is like, I don't want to deal with that, or that's just not what I want this to be about. But there doesn't seem to be like a threat of sexual violence in Meek's Cutoff. And like
Yeah.
it wouldn't be easy to make Meek a creep or
Or the Native American guy. Or
the
like I
guy.
thought Meek was gonna like portray him as like, he's gonna assault you, he's gonna kill all the men, and then you're gonna be a sex slave or something. Like
Yeah.
very common theme of how people other Native Americans and other people, indigenous folks.
Yeah. And he just didn't go there, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if she's just tired. Sometimes I feel like I
Yeah, it's almost like a weird
about it.
Bechdel test for like if you're doing like a frontier story involving women. It's like
Yeah.
might be one of the very few ones I've seen that's like, well, we don't have to have rape as part of the story.
Yeah. Let's just not
Yeah.
do it. But everyone is sort of already like in a specific family unit. And I know a lot of times like men who view women as property, they're like, if she's married, she belongs to somebody else. So like, I respect that man, so I won't touch that woman. So it kind of maybe that just sort of like canceled it out, or she just wasn't interested in that story. It's been told so many times. It's
Yeah.
just, like,
And to your point about the earlier stuff about the women going to check in on her, it's like they kind of have that viewpoint too of like it would be okay if he was sort of like keeping her in the house and allowing no one to see her if she was married. Like it's either,
yeah,
and then but then they're like, if they're not married, then she's either a harlot or or she's been kidnapped. She can't have any agency or anything like that.
so they just kind of Meek's Cutoff kind of solves that. Everyone's already married, already has a husband, and
Yeah.
kind of
Have you seen The Power of the Dog? I'd be curious.
Yeah.
Is it good?
I think it's really good, but it is very. I wouldn't. I mean, like Kirsten Dunst's character is very sympathetic, but it's really like the central focus is like toxic masculinity.
Sick.
So it's still. I think you'd really vibe. It's a.
Hell yeah. I don't think I've seen Jane Campion yet. That's another. I mean, I feel again, no Kelly Reichardt. And like, what am I? Some type of film bro, right? But
She's.
yeah.
I think you'll like her because similarly, has very complicated vibes.
When I was flipping through the piano to try and I helped Jenna find a screenshot of something, and when I was flipping through it, it looked really good. The piano looked really good.
It's really good and really complicated vibes around, sexuality and men and women and consent and, like power dynamics, really complicated. And like, honestly, the first time I saw the piano, like I didn't like it. It kind of yucked me out. I was like, ugh. But seeing it as an adult with like a more, grown up, complicated understanding of human sexuality, and then I kind of was like, okay, I think I get what's going on. But watching it as a young woman, I was like, oh, like this is gross, and she ends up with that guy. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
She's very, I think, complicated. And Power of the Dog deals with, toxic masculinity and sexuality, and I would love to watch it again. I only watched it once when it came out, and I think it's one of those that you need to watch a few times to really catch everything. But it's gorgeous. It looks really great.
I know the score is. I really wanted to see it because the score is Johnny Greenwood, and I love him. There Will Be Blood Radiohead fella.
Making film scores.
Yeah,
we're so lucky.
Yeah, I love his a lot. The so I had. I'm trying to think of like the sort of the similarities of like I think Dismal Views on America I think was one that I'd had like one, and like it felt like, to go back to the progressive conversation, that Delmer, it just like the idea that the West is like just a gold find away from like just doing like a mass riot and like everybody's happy and then hanging this guy and everything else. And it's almost like, it almost seemed like kind of religious almost at the end, even, of like they have to reject the money. It's almost like that's like where it felt really progressive to me, of like it's almost like you got to reject the money in order to survive. Like he can't do it, if that makes sense.
And that religious guy who does like the laying on of hands and is like a spiritual healer.
Yeah, George C. Scott. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah. That
I
is his
didn't.
first
That's
role
what
as he's
oh my
basically a
God.
wizard.
Yeah. I did not clock it at all. Wow. I
Yeah.
back and look.
Yeah. Famous for the viewers that you know him from Patton and God, he's in so much stuff. Is he in 12 Angry? I always forget. I always get him and Lee J. Cobb. They're just like the same person in my head. George G. Scott, Lee J. Cobb.
Okay, cut
And
this
he's
out if I'm wrong, but he's in Doctor Strangelove, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He's famously yeah. I think that one, The Hustler,
Yeah.
Anatomy of a Murder. I'm looking at his thing. The Exorcist 3, Hardcore. He is in 12 Angry Men. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. He's in 12 Angry Men, but he's in actually this is a good movie. He's in the 1997 television remake of 12 Angry Men, which is a good movie. It was directed by William Friedman, weirdly. Not William William Friedkin.
Freaking.
But
What was it you cut out for the
sorry, the 1997 television remake of 12 Angry Men. So the
Oh,
guy I always confuse him with, Lee J. Cobb, who I also love, is in the original, and then he's in the remake.
then he's in the remake.
Yeah.
I know I've seen that. I feel like that's the one they showed us when I was in school. They showed us the made for TV remake.
Yeah. It's William Friedkin. I mean, so that's,
Yeah, it's
so
I mean it's 12 Angry Men. It doesn't need
yeah.
it's not a cinematic story.
Yeah.
It could be a movie, but it's not like
Yeah.
it all happens in one room. It's just guys talking.
Yeah.
Guys talking the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, why we have I noticed on your on Bitch Fest you have the women, which I haven't seen. I need to watch it still. Many people have recommended to me on that channel. But yeah, why isn't there a movie just called The Men,
We
I actually
already
did
covered
watch
lots of
yeah. You know what? I actually did watch the movie The Men, which is Lawrence of Arabia,
Yeah.
It's coming out podcast episode I did last week. There's not a single I don't think a woman speaks in that 4-hour movie.
I don't think so either.
I don't even think you see a woman.
This for like my grandpa, this was like a way to recommend a movie. He loved like a war movie where there was no women anywhere.
Yeah. That movie, it kind of gets a pass, I will say, on like any Bechdel test type of thing, because
Yeah.
I think it takes place in the gay universe. That's a gay male movie. Shockingly gay.
I like obviously I love like female representation and female voices and I don't mind a movie that's all about men. Like men can have their own stories. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you have to be doing something interesting with it and I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Who can be mad about Lawrence of Arabia? Like it
Yeah.
just
It's the
it's
first time I'd ever seen it. I couldn't believe how gay it was. It's like it's shocking. We were just laughing the whole time. I was literally just giggling the whole time at it. It's so good. I was like, I can't believe they didn't surely people knew. Surely to God people
it
knew.
feels so they're just so in love. I don't know how
Yeah. They're just
they love each other and
they
it's
just love each other.
beautiful.
Yeah. Which they even say in the movie. He says at the end
Yeah.
of the thing, you love him, and he's crying and he goes away. It's like, oh yeah, they're just friends.
They're just and they were roommates.
They were roommates. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just want what am I trying to say? I don't
Stories
mind.
about anything.
I love anything. If it's
Yeah.
well told, I don't care. If I think we need to make more room for female voices because men have dominated for so long. But I'm not mad about a movie that doesn't have any women in it. That's fine.
Yeah. That I feel totally the same. That's actually the only like I get frustrated with. Like, I think we're probably both millennial-ish. I think it's like the one frustration, probably the big frustration I would have, like in terms of like as the millennial film culture is like, there's a lot of stuff that around like I'm not going to watch this movie because it's just about men or something like that. You'd hear that thing, and it's just like I can't personally imagine saying that about like any particular group. Now I am like a cis white male, and like so it's like, but I'm not like genuinely not. It's just like it's always like a. I've never liked that line of criticism in terms of like, because I don't think the issue is like that there are stories for men, certainly, or like not for men, but like about men. But it's more just like that there were no women stories, that like Dorothy Johnson couldn't get a book written, like a book published, like a best-selling Western author could not get a book published
From a woman's perspective.
about a woman's perspective. Like a best-selling author could not do that because she had a bunch of males like, would people want to read this? You know, that seems more the issue.
Interested in women?
Yeah.
Do women have feelings?
Yeah. I think you're spending too much time on the woman. How about we have this fresh story about a gunslinging, card-playing frontier doctor? That's never been done.
That's interesting, yeah. Here we have something. Now we're cooking.
Yeah. My low-key, like, this would be my Coen brothers, like, everybody's a dumbass theory, I think would probably be, like, if so much of a lot of, like, film sexism was not because of, like, sexism, but it was because just film executives are really stupid and they can't imagine things past like what they've seen. And just unfortunately, a lot of the early movies were made about men, and they're like, or books or whatever, and they're like, well, that'll never work because it's never been done before, right? It's like the same way they don't do like anything other than superhero movies. There's a whole generation of executive now is like, well, the only thing that make money is superhero movies.
Superhero movies, yeah. I do think the Coen brothers' worldview is probably closer to the truth than like some grand conspiracy or like, I think that's probably.
I go back and forth on it.
Yeah. I
love it, but also everyone is dumb. Yeah. I was going to say, so switching gears just a little bit, because you are a style influencer, a style content creator, style influencer, fashion influencer. Is there like a cool term for that? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah. I was going to say fashion influencer, but that sounds like fascism or something. It's like,
Fashfluencer.
Yeah, fashfluencer.
Like very self-conscious about, like, I'm interested in fashion and style and clothes, but my budget doesn't match my tastes. So then sometimes I feel like an imposter being like, yes, I'm a fashion influencer. But yes, I talk a lot about clothes and style and designers and etc. on my content.
Yeah. I need to find more like slovenly dude fashion people. Cause I was like, I don't say it, but like I would say like, oh, I like fashion the same way that like Bruce Weber likes fashion, but I don't want to compare myself to Bruce Weber, allegedly, for all of his alleged sins, that he allegedly has been sued like 22 times over, allegedly. But yeah, like that whole, I don't know if like I need to find like another slovenly guy to be like, you know, it's like, well, I can appreciate it, but it's not me, my personal style, you know?
Yeah. But I love your takes on fashion. They're always so interesting. I think because
interesting. Thank you, Jen.
I genuinely love them. I think it's kind of like yours, like women's perspective on men and men's perspective on like someone.
It's a slob's perspective on fashion. You could say it. I'll say it for you.
Someone who doesn't feel beholden necessarily to like to a certain aesthetic in their personal life. You can bring kind of a different perspective to it. Yeah,
I think that's my wherever I'm at on the spectrum that my therapist keeps telling me about. You know, it's like my life got a whole lot happier when I just started picking clothes based on texture, like texture and fit. And he was like, "That's probably a sign of like something." Yeah,
but genuinely, like I do think, because I've been talking a lot about like clothes and stuff, I'm starting to think more like philosophically about clothes and what we wear and how we're connected to it. And like, I do think there is something that is like chic and cool about clothes that allow you to like live your life in the best way, that like enhance your experience of the world. So like something that's just like comfortable and fits and you feel like comfortable in your body while you're wearing it, that's gonna automatically, no matter what the clothes are, is gonna like read as like cool or chic because you yourself are comfortable and like experiencing the world in a better way because of the clothes you're wearing. So I think there's something there, even if maybe it's not like fashion or like following a trend or something, the just feeling comfortable.
Paul Mescal and After Sun is that. I need to make another one of those videos.
Yeah, like it's you look at all these like fashion influencers and what people are wearing and stuff, and it's not that like necessarily the clothes themselves are that cool sometimes. just like the person wearing them feels so like they feel like fully embodied while wearing these clothes. And
Yeah.
that's what makes it like aspirational. And I think that's why so often like designers and wealthy people are like stealing from subcultures or like creative people who maybe don't have as much money or like workwear, because you see like a cowboy or a farmer like wearing their Carhartt jacket and they seem so embodied wearing this jacket that it looks cool, and so people try to copy it, but it's
Yeah.
because this jacket is enhancing his work and his life. And anyway,
Yeah.
that's
No, that's a great point. I definitely felt that was like a big part of like my, when I eventually do a video on like sort of my journey to doing any of this stuff. That was probably the first. It's interesting. This turned into a therapy session, but it's like, it's interesting. It's probably like the first, I think. So my channel took off because of fashion, because I did a video on, is like I went from like first couple months, I went up to like 600 followers or something. But then I did a video on the Gilda dress, about the Madame X dress. And then that like took me from like 600 to like 5,000 or something like that. And then I just started making more videos about dresses. And I think like probably there's some novelty. Like I honestly, I don't want to learn about fashion too much, because like,
don't do it, you'll ruin it.
exactly. Yeah. Half the comments are like, you're calling that a PB&J outfit, of like when Gene Tierney is like eating a PB&J. I'm like, well, that's what she's doing. It's like an outfit for eating PB&Js. That's what it looks like to me. So yeah, to come in like conscious of my diet in terms of like fashion history. Cause yeah, I think there's a novelty in it, that I want to keep. But also I think like I didn't thought about it until you just said that about like, I'm wearing my Mulholland Drive shirt. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, I discovered a bunch of movie shirt sites, and I had started watching a lot of, like, gotten back into movies, because I like just, for a variety of reasons, kind of not done them for a while. But that was kind of the first thing, was like, I just started like replacing all of my shirts. Honestly, is like, because it's a combination of movie and texture. It was like they have movies on them, and they're also these like Los Angeles apparel or like Shock-aware t-shirts that are like extra boxy and big, and I just like to feel them. I don't mind a tight, but I've just stopped. Started liking these like really big boxy t-shirts, getting them oversized, and I was like, these make me feel good, and I feel nice wearing them and comfortable. And yeah, there was also just like that kind of just led probably down the line of just like, I should start just getting back into movies and thinking about it, doing that. Eventually led to the channel and everything. So it is like interesting. It's a fashion thing, I think.
Fashion led you to content, and then the content about fashion led you to great success.
Yeah. And then I was on a date. I was in the early stage of a not relationship, but I went on a couple dates with a girl, and with a gal. I don't know when I should stop saying the term. It always feels weird. I'm not with a gal, with a lady who, with an adult woman, to be extremely clear,
Okay.
a very adult woman, with a gal who, a very adult gal who, she was really into like, I think vintage, stuff. And so the reason I even did the Baz Luhrmann video, honestly, was like, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch a special feature about, cause like maybe, it's like, oh, that'd be neat. I'll have something to talk about. And then it basically just ended like a day or two after that. I was like, I'm still gonna make the video, because this is fun to learn about. Yeah. It was actually a thing, because as I was sad as it was ending, but then it was just like, at the same time, I was like getting 1,000 new followers a day for like 5 days in a row, and I was like, okay, cool, this is validating. Maybe it's a sign.
Yeah. That's one of the things about being single that I miss sometimes, is just. I mean, there's not a lot that I missed.
Yeah.
I caught that last chopper out of Nam, and I'm happy. But
Yeah, out of Nam and into Naples, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
But like, I was always actively like meeting new people, and they would introduce me to interesting things, whether or not it was a match or whatever, or there was like a lot of heartbreak and emotional ups and downs, but like there's so many, like I learned about like great restaurants or movies I'd never would have watched or whatever, and just kind of this really active engagement in the world and meeting new people and being open to new things. Yeah, you find really great stuff, even if it's not like the person for you. You could still
Yeah,
something or discover something about yourself.
for sure. Yeah, I'm kind of discovering I don't really like, that was fun for the first, like, however many, after like I'd been in a long-term relationship getting out of it. But then like now it's just like, it's just like I don't feel compelled as need to do it because like I have the podcast, I'm like commenting and talking with people
Yeah.
on, TikTok and everything. So now it's just like, it's neat, but it's like more, I feel like I can just more be choosy about who if I want that sort of social aspect of like meeting people or whatnot. But it's fun. I tend to be interested in. Do you find yourself interested in like just generally whatever people are like? Because one of my, she got me really into Married at First Sight. I was a huge Married, and it's still that it's the meanest show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's I could do so much better than those experts, which that's the show. Reality. I have some followers now. If you do you want to hear my idea for, please steal this and hire me if you're out there. Have you seen Married at First Sight, like the
I'm
reality?
familiar with it.
Okay.
I feel like I've watched like a few episodes here and there, but I haven't. I don't know that I know like any of the
Okay.
main, but I know the
Are
premise.
you okay going on a little divergence?
Yeah.
A little neurodivergence, I should say. You must be if you're on this podcast. Is Married at First Sight. It's great. I feel like they do like 5 couples every season, and it's like they like the conceit of it is like everyone signs up and they're experts, and the experts are experts at matching people up, and they go and they say like this person, then the first time that people meet is when the woman is walking down the aisle to they're married, and then the idea is that they're married and they have like eight weeks to like or something to figure out whether or not they're going to stay together, and that's like the drama of the show. And it seems like after I think I started watching, I don't know, I haven't seen all the seasons, but like we started watching at some point, and it's like at a certain point I kind of realized the theme was like they pick one good couple and then they purposely troll at least 1 or 2 couples, and then they kind of give 2 couples that are like maybe 50-50 or something or whatever, but more closer to like 80-20 where they're not going to make it. But there's always one couple where it's like I feel like they actually try at. It's just a really bad hit rate for experts on the show, I think. And so my idea with it is it shouldn't be experts doing it. It should be you, Jenna, and me, and like 3 other people. Like you should have like a stand-up comedian, like let's have Nate Bargatze or something as one of the experts, and then you have like TikTok influencer Jenna, who's like however long you've been married or whatever, someone who's like newer to marriage or something, like relatively. But then you have like let's get like a 75-year-old couple who's been married 50 years, and you have teams. Each of them pairs together a thing, and then you're just having them coach it. I think that'd be such a better way to do it, because every time I watch them, like I could do so much better than these people. Like I could
Like The
match it up.
Voice, where like the judges are competing to like have their couple
Yes.
be the most successful.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yeah.
the judges are more motivated to make a good match.
Yeah.
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 I
And I
think-
would think, and it's like and I don't think the contestants should know who their experts are, because it's like, if my parents have been married 45 years or something, like they've been, and they got married pretty young. I think my dad was like 19.
Oh wow.
And they were which was late for my family. I think my grandpa was like 16 or 17, like
Yes.
most of those people. But they got married real late, and they've been, or my real early, 45 years. But if they were trying to coach someone, it'd be the funniest thing of like, it's because they're like Frank and Estelle off of Seinfeld. That's literally my, She doesn't need to yell at him when she's cooking. It'd just be that. This is my dad just chiming in while they're on like a make pasta together date. That's not how you make pasta. Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by these couples that have been together forever, and you're like, I don't know if, I'm not saying this is your parents, but you're like, I'm not sure what the dynamic here is, but it seems to work for them, but they don't necessarily seem to be like connected in in like a sweet way. They just sort of exist next to each other.
Yeah. They are, and they're just also Frank and Estelle from Seinfeld.
That's
They're
so
very sweet to each other, but they're also just my dad's just Larry David, basically. So it's like,
It's so funny.
yeah. He's like a near deaf, near blind Larry David. He's like 2,400 and he has hearing aids. And he's had like his whole life. He's had like, and he's near albino. Like literally, it's like in Larry David basically is who he is.
That's such a.
So imagine being married to that. Imagine growing. Yeah.
I mean, we're all a little Larry David, but I can appreciate.
Yeah.
Funny.
I'm trying to think if there's a story I can tell that would even make it on the episode of how Larry David he is. Honestly, anything. He's constantly getting into. I don't know if I'll keep this in, but he's constantly getting into fights with people at like Home Depot, or just like Lowe's and everything. Like he'll go. He's a big gardener.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll pick up his mulch, and then someone will park too close to him, or they'll almost hit him, and he'll just like just be like, "Watch where he'll just yell at. You don't know how to drive that truck. You shouldn't be driving a car that big. What do you do?" It'll make it something moral.
I can't wait till I'm old enough to just like yell at everyone that I'm mad at. I feel so like.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm being careful, and I don't want to make anyone mad, and I respect that kind of attitude.
Same. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what the age is.
Yeah, when is that going to turn on?
I should just start doing it. Yeah. He called up, I'll tell you another, so we have like in my town, we have like a fairly famous cake place. Mm-hmm. Like it's like it's probably been on, I think it's been on TV shows and stuff. And like, it's very nice. For doxing reasons, I won't, give the name of it because for whatever, but like he was trying to get a cake. He was buying a cake for my mom for her birthday or like something. Mm-hmm. But this is how a conversation with my dad in the cake shop goes, where he called her up and he's like, he called up the thing and he just immediately, my brother's telling me this story because he was in the house. I can't even tell without laughing. But he says, he calls up the cake place, and as soon as they answer, she's like, hello, and she just cuts his, do all your cakes have buttercream in them? And then she's like, yeah, and this is like an old Southern lady who's like running the place. She's like, well, yes, sir. We, all of our cake, that's the frosting we use. Oh, that's awful. I can't believe people eat that stuff. Like, that's so terrible. Buttercream. Like, why would you only have buttercream and frosting? That's, no, I can't order a cake like that. And he just hangs up. And he totally doesn't think that's like impolite or whatever.
Weird.
He's just like, yeah, he's just like having a conversation.
Called him up. He got the information he needed, and he didn't need a cake after that.
Can you imagine doing that?
No,
I can't.
No.
No hello.
Hey, thank you. Well, I don't know if I'm going to order today, but maybe.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. That's so disgusting.
Ew.
Yeah. God bless him.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, he's it's Frank and Estelle from Seinfeld. If you want, Jerry Stiller, and I can't remember. I always forget the lady's name, but she's great.
She's so funny.
Oh, you know what I realized, by the way, when I first finally watched it, I'd never seen The Sound of Music till last year. It's just like one of those weird blind spots.
Yeah,
she's just Estelle on that. I think she's just doing an impression of the blonde lady in not The Sound of Music. I'm sorry, what did I say? The Singing in the Rain. I'd never seen Singing in the Rain. I think Estelle's just doing an impression of the blonde lady from that movie.
Of Lena
Lamont. I watched. Yeah, Lena Lamont.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a star. What do you mean my voice doesn't sound good? I think she's just doing. It feels like she's almost just doing an impression of her.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
He's great. I love that like the New York, New Jersey, East Coast, the accent world is so fascinating to me because it feels like very foreign because I grew up like West Coast and in the West.
Does Utah have an accent?
Utah has a little bit of an accent. I feel like if you didn't know about it, you wouldn't necessarily notice. But both my parents were from California, so I feel like I talk a little more like them. It's like kind of the most flat, bland. I don't know. I feel so aware of like my accent and the way that I speak living like in a foreign country, and I never talk to other Americans. So
Mm.
like I don't know if my accent is all like jacked up now or strange. And I feel like so I'm sure you can appreciate like as a content creator, like the way I pronounce words. I get so in my head because
Oh, I
I'm
get
learning
roasted
other
for it.
languages. Yeah, and so I'm like I sometimes I can't remember how to pronounce English words, or like I read something and some other like language rules kick in and I'm like, is that how you would say it? I
Yeah.
feel so in my head about the way that I talk now because like I was just in Italy last weekend with my in-laws, and my sisters-in-law speak English, but I find myself when I'm talking to them in English, if I kind of mimic their accent speaking English, they understand me better. So I start to
Yeah.
speak like with even English, like with a little Italian accent, just because you can get by a little easier if you
Visiting America's night. That's like, I
it
guess, more of a
starts
Borat,
to
but
get
like, I won't do it. Yeah.
like so I don't anyway, I don't know. I feel very aware of my accent.
I think as long as you don't go full Hilaria Baldwin, like that's
Okay.
understandable.
Or
You
like
know
I'm
that you,
pretending like I am
yeah.
Italian.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Where if you start saying, how do you say this in English when
how you
like you grew up?
say how you
Yeah.
say
Shout out Hilaria.
um I mean she's a
Yeah.
fascinating person.
She
But
is.
yeah, Utah has a little bit of the biggest thing I think for the Utah accent is like we cut the T's out of words. Like instead of
Hmm.
mountains, it's like mountains,
Hmm.
really kind of flattening out any middle
Interesting.
T's, mountains.
I wonder if that's so. I wonder if that's like that's actually so I grew up in Western Mass in Springfield in Massachusetts, Springfield and Amherst. That's actually a characteristic I think of like Western Mass people don't sound like the Paktakan, Harvard Yard, Boston type people. I
Mhm.
grew up with a speech impediment. I couldn't say my R's and my L's until I was like 12 or 13 or so. I had to take speech therapy and everything. So my accent in speaking has always been fucked. Like just since like because it's always like either deliberate or practiced or whatever. And I still like the transcripts make me feel really they they fuck with me like when I'm doing the subtitles because it's constantly saying my L's and my R's or W's. And I'm
Really?
like am I just like hearing that or like, you know, it's like okay,
I
yeah.
I never would have guessed or noticed that
Thank you.
that was a
The
thing.
TikTok, the subtitles thing does every time I try and say like Laird Krieger, it's like Ward Krieger. It always like does it as. But the Sutton like that's like a Western Massachusetts I believe is like doing the similar type of thing of like with the N's or the T's off the words like Sutton or something or
Yeah.
mountain. So I'd be curious like didn't was it Joseph Smith? Didn't he come from like upstate New York? I want to say because I
Yeah.
think the Western Mass accent's similar to that. So I wonder if that's like
Yeah. But he never
is it
made it
there?
out to Utah. He was dead before.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
But I mean,
Well, there goes
Brigham
my
Young is
theory.
all from there.
Was he part of Meek's Cutoff?
He was assassinated in
Oh,
um, Palmyra, New York.
no kidding.
I might I might be getting my
Has there been a movie about that?
no, no, he was in Illinois by then. He was in Illinois when he was
Mm.
assassinated. You know what? There's actually a movie. It's about Brigham Young, but at the very beginning they have Joseph Smith, and Joseph Smith is played by Vincent Price, which is
Oh, that's cool.
funny.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm
it's
the descendant of God, or whatever.
he actually like he looks not dissimilar to
Yeah,
Joseph Smith. It's actually pretty good casting, but
that's cool.
I remember seeing that movie when I was a kid, and it made me laugh because I knew Vincent Price was like a horror guy, and he was
Yeah,
the prophet. But yeah, he was Joseph Smith was imprisoned for reasons, and
yeah.
then like a mob came and shot him while he was in prison.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Very the hanging tree.
very the hanging tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Damn.
was. People were not happy with the Mormons being in, or I guess Missouri.
Mm.
Nauvoo was in Missouri. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know. It. My great great grandfather got excommunicated in Illinois. I think.
Hmm.
He was like some part of some other religious thing where he's like a Protestant. He was a Catholic, and then he started talking shit about the Catholic Church in Illinois or something, and then he got excommunicated. So kind of, yeah.
But there was, like the Mormons kept moving west, and like people were never happy when they showed up because of the polygamy thing. And so like in Missouri, there was like an extermination order, and like it wasn't technically like illegal to like shoot a Mormon, and that it was one of those things where like it was on the books until like the 60s or the 70s or something. Like it was
that's crazy
because they didn't want them in the state of Missouri.
That's wild.
Somebody may come in and like correct me on that. I still probably have like a kind of a Mormon centric view of this history where like they were martyrs and they were persecuted, and somebody can correct me on my history.
Did you have to take like Mormon history in like school? Was that like
there was as part of like the state curriculum, there was Utah history, and I mean you can't talk about Utah history without talking about the Mormons, so that's a big part. And then there's also, if you were Mormon, you would do seminary, and that was like a class. And in Utah, you could do it during the day, but a lot of Mormon kids outside of Utah would like wake up early. It was like a sort of Bible study-esque class, but part of like church and like the regular sort of curriculum is sort of like the Joseph Smith story, and the church history stuff is very much a part of like the culture and what you talk about in church. Because the Mormons believe that Joseph Smith was a prophet, and he was like talking directly to God, and he got revelation when he was a prophet. So kind of we would read like the revelations that he got, and that history was all kind of tied up in the theology of Mormonism. So it's like a big piece of the culture and the religion is like the history and the pioneers and the struggles of building this religion. And yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I asked in Tennessee, we had to take, but the way they like sort of got like Bible. I took a class called Bible history, which was just history according to the Bible. It was like a public school class.
That was interesting.
Oh, I loved it. It was one of my favorite classes. Yeah, mainly we just because of the teacher was my baseball coach, and he was just like the coolest guy I've ever. Just the funniest, the funniest person I've ever met in my life. And just wonderful. He we had like hour and a half classes. It was like weird like block scheduling. We had like so he would like, that's where honestly it was big movie bud developed, because like he would kind of do stand-up comedy for like 20-30 minutes, kind of teach, and then like depending on how good the class was being, he would teach longer if the class was bad, or he'd give us worksheets and say you could watch a movie. And if you acted up, then he would go back to teaching. It was just like his whole thing. But we only had 3 VHSs, so we only watched The Princess Bride or The Waterboy or Happy Gilmore, basically. So I got to see those movies like 300 times in high school. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like kind of educationally adjacent. But
we love The Waterboy. It's still one of my favorite movies, yeah. Gatorade H2O. Have you seen The Waterboy? Adam Sandler?
Never seen it, I'm afraid.
Oh my goodness. Classic.
I was fairly pretentious as a teen, and so I was like, that's not for me. That's lowbrow comedy. But now I'm much more open to all sorts of.
It's good. He's like an auteur, I think. I would Sandler.
Yeah.
Like I would consider him like a true. It's interesting. I think he's like kind of. I think they started calling him like Frank Capra-esque in some of his thing, which led him to doing a remake of Mr. Deeds, which sucked. I didn't like his remake. I haven't seen the original, but I didn't like that movie. But I would put Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy, The Wedding Singer up against, like, especially if you like rom-coms. The Wedding Singer is tremendous.
I like The Wedding Singer. He does have like a deep sweetness.
Yeah.
To all his films, and I can see the Capra comparison, because it's always comes back to like love and friendship and kind of
He got me into watching art films actually, because that was because I watched, probably told this story several, but like a first movie I ever watched by myself, R-rated movie, like for adult Jeff, or like, coming of age Jeff, was Boogie Nights. It was just on, my parents had Cinemax.
Wow.
Yeah, that was how much
Great
of a
one.
yeah.
What a great intro to like.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good. Yeah. It was the first R-rated movie I ever watched by myself. I remember watching it in my room in my little TV. It shows I'm a nerd. My parents had like Skinamax and HBO, and I was like, I'm gonna watch Boogie Nights. This is so cool.
I was just talking to a friend about this because my parents were very like, we weren't allowed to watch R-rated movies, and my parents still like don't watch R-rated movies very often. And I remember like that's something that I lied to my parents about like the most, was like watching movies, and I would watch them secretly in my room. But I was just talking to a friend about this. Like it was like sneaking in my copy of Y Tu Mama Tambien. Like
Yeah, right.
my international art film. I have to lie about. I should have been at the club or like out partying, but instead I was like, oh no, I'm gonna watch this Mexican Spanish language art film about.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that was my that was the same. Like I borrowed my brother's ID, because my brother, we all kind of look fairly similar, unfortunately, and he's like, he had his old ID that he gave to me. It was like an old, like, it weirdly had no expiration date. It was like a Massachusetts like state ID. So he gave that to me, and I would use it for like movies, because like in Tennessee, I think at the time you had to be 18 to watch an R-rated movie by yourself. It wasn't like 17. Yeah. But the movies I snuck into when I was 17, 2007, were There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men. So I was like, ooh, that's what I'm using my brother's older ID to do. Not to like go to bars. It's like I'm trying to, I'm watching No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood.
I remember I have such a strong memory of that year, of those two movies being in theaters. I was in college, and so like my schedule was weird, and my friend and I both went to see No Country for Old Men in the middle of the day, and it was like us, like these two young women, and then nothing but old men in the theater.
That's so cool.
Like neo-Western in the middle of the day, and it was always. I have such fond memories of like the Salt Lake Arts House theaters, and going to those theaters in the middle of the day, and it was always me and a bunch of like retirees that were really interested in film, and I just have such warm memories of those experiences. I love those theaters.
How's the cinema over? Is it really good in France? Like I imagine, like the big cinema culture, right?
It's
like
a really big cinema culture. I don't know if you read Catching the Big Fish.
No.
Where he talks about like France being the best country in the world for filmmakers, and they appreciate cinema, and
Paris is so good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's the best. I can't do his voice, and I embarrass myself if I try, but I'm still figuring it out. But there's tons of like repertory theaters that show old movies, and there's lots of places where you can find original versions of American movies. And there's a really strong film culture. There's the Cinémathèque Française has like really interesting retrospectives all the time, and they have like guests coming. Like I said, I can't remember anyone's name anymore. Ever since I had a kid, it's like all emptied out of my head. But Fincher? Fincher was at the Cinémathèque Française recently, like presenting Black Swan, I think.
Oh, cool.
And they did this big Wes Anderson museum things. They
gotta love him over there.
Yeah, I think he lives here, or he spends at least.
He's gotta love it over there too. Yeah.
He's
that twee motherfucker.
I love him though.
Yeah. Oh, the Phoenician Scheme. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't gotten a chance.
Probably my favorite movie of his since Bottle Rocket, I think.
Wait. Can't wait. Are you a Wes Anderson? I feel like people kind of are or aren't Wes Anderson.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I hate anti-Wes. I mean, not unless you are one. I won't hate all of them, but
no, I love Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I love him. I don't see how people hate him at all.
I don't need. People are like, I wish you would just make a normal movie, and I'm like, why? Why would you ever want that? Like
Yeah.
one of the most unique, like, visions in filmmaking, and you want him to like look like everybody else. I can't
Yeah.
understand.
Do you care about like any thematic spoilers for the movie or anything?
No, I listened to a pretty
Okay.
good review. I know it's about like a father-daughter relationship and kind of capitalism, power.
Yeah. I kind of think it's about like, yeah, I mean, definitely it was interesting. I went with my shout out my buddy Max. He took it very much. He's got a kid, so he took it very much as like a father kid thing. I took it as like his most angry political work I think I've seen. It almost like unlocked. I feel like now I kind of have like a key. He's someone who I feel like have needed to watch because I haven't watched all of his movies, but everything I've seen I've really liked. But I feel like it's like it's him being angry. Like he can only be angry in his twee, like very goofy Wes Anderson way. But I think like the anger that I felt in this one, in turn, it's like I thought it was very political because it like takes place in the Middle East and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think like for him, it's like it's one of the angriest movies I've seen in ages. I thought politically, but it's Wes Anderson doing it, so it just feels like
Kind of cute.
like, yeah, cute, but it's like it kind of have to like it's like him. It's like being angry. He still is in that world, so it's like what does anger look like in that world, or like what does like all this stuff look like in that world? And it's just like for that world, it is what it is. But yeah, I love him. I don't get the people who want him to do something normal.
I don't either. Why would we?
Yeah.
And I feel like people, I mean, he is very twee, of course, and there is sort of like a cuteness about, but like, I feel like you're not getting his movies if you think that's all it is, if you think it's like just style, because I do think
Yeah.
there's always like a deep pain in his movies on some level or another, whether it's like the bad dads or stuff. And it's been really interesting. I mean, because this is where I am in my life, where like I have a kid and she's young and I'm adjusting to like my role as a parent, and he has a daughter, at least one kid as well. And watching him as a filmmaker since becoming a parent, because his movies were always kind of about parent relationships, and now that he is the dad, it's interesting to see. Like I feel like Asteroid City felt a lot like sort of.
I missed that one. I felt to my great shame. I need to see that. I heard it was good.
You don't need to be ashamed, but it's that's one of my favorite ones. It really hit me between the eyes of just like as a parent struggling to be a parent and like just how to live your life as a creative person. I think you'd really like it. It's really I think it's really great.
I'm sure that'll wreck me.
It's one of
Yeah,
my
I need to see it. My shame is I meant to see it in theaters, but I didn't. I should have seen it, but
I know. But it's hard to get out to everything.
It is. Yeah. I need to see more of it. I need to see. I haven't. It's been probably 20 years since I remember watching. That was another early watch. I think. So I forgot to say. Yeah. So I watched Boogie Nights, and then
Yes.
I was a really big Adam Sandler fan because I'd seen The Waterboy 3,000 times in school, and Happy Gilmore, and he was like a big as like a probably neurodivergent young kid who always felt struggling to communicate emotions. Like that's like Sandler his on-screen persona is basically like he can only express himself through like violence or humor or sadness and these big explosions. So I was like, this is me. I always felt like it's a thing. But then watching Punch Drunk Love, because I was like, I watched Boogie Nights and I was like, oh shit, he just made as I was it was like 2003. I was like, oh, the same guy just made an Adam Sandler movie that's like a weird arty Adam Sandler movie. I should watch this. And like that was the movie, still one of my top 10 movies. Yeah, that's like that just kind of that got me into like those two movies got me into movies basically, because I was like,
That's so
I didn't know
fun.
they could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always such an interesting journey. Like, what's the thing that kind of hooks you? And because there's so many people that it almost feels foreign to me because it's so central to like my life, and everyone I love loves movies. And then I go out, like, I'm trying to meet new friends. I'm in a new country. And people are just like, don't watch movies. And I'm like, I don't know what to talk to you about.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like,
saw a thing on TikTok where this was maybe a little while ago. It was TikTok or Twitter. There's this lady who was talking about her experience on the dating apps, and she was into movies, and she was like, She's like, oh yeah, I met a guy the other day. She's like, oh, you like movies? Cool. Yeah, I watched one of those, and like I think I watched one last year or something. Or he's just like, it's like, yeah, movies are cool. I remember seeing one of those. That seems.
You sit and look at night if you're not
Yeah.
watching
What
movies.
do you do?
I don't. I genuinely don't know. I can't imagine
Yeah, I can't.
that wasn't movie heavy because it's
Yeah.
just like my favorite thing.
Was E2 Mama Tambien like one of the ones for you in terms of like your first experience in journeys? Because I was Alfonso Cuarón. That was also for me. Not that I still haven't seen that movie. I need to see that movie. It's been on my like to watch list for like 20 years. But I remember really liking Harry Potter 3.
Yeah.
And then I saw Children of Men, which like blew me away and is also still in like my top 20.
Oh, it's so
And I've been a
good.
Cuarón fan ever since. Was E2 Mamba? Was that
That's.
the
I wouldn't
former
say
one?
that's the one, but that is a big one. That was maybe like the most sort of. That was like a big art house moment. But he directed a version of A Little Princess that I loved
Hmm.
when I was a kid. I don't think I put together that he had directed that, but I remember really loving that movie and like being really moved by like the visuals of it.
Hmm.
And like I said, my dad was kind of a film buff and he showed us a lot of movies when I was a kid, like old movies and like my brother and I really liked Bill and Ted, the Bill and Ted
Hmm.
movies. And
I haven't
then
seen those. Another
you haven't
blind
seen
spot.
in
No.
the second one, they do a take on the Seventh Seal where they have to like, they die
Hmm.
and they have to challenge death, but instead of like chess, they do like Battleship and Twister and stuff because it's a comedy. And my brother and I loved that movie, and my dad was like, "This is based on the Swedish movie, like we should watch it." And so my dad like showed us the Seventh Seal when we were like kids, so that
That's
we could
cool.
get like the cultural references. So like my dad was really good at like finding a way in for like classic films for us. But I remember, I think like the one that really like hit me hard was Moulin Rouge.
Mm.
Like it just blew my mind. Like I
Yeah.
was the perfect age to see it. Like I can't remember exactly, like 11, 12 or something, where I was like, a lot of like ideas about romance were really coming online. And I was a big reader and I loved movies and I had a big imagination. And this movie is just like so, it's like frenetic and crazy and has so much energy. And
Mm.
I, like you said, like I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know movies could look like this. And that really like I think that was kind of like the step beyond where I was already interested and already engaged, but I think that really was like I didn't know stuff could look like this and
Yeah.
feel like this and feel this intense and big and crazy, and it just was this mashup of all these things I loved, like musicals and these frenetic cuts and like Ewan McGregor, like the cutest boy I'd ever seen, singing these like really romantic songs on top of an elephant. I was just like, oh, this is
Yeah.
everything. It really, really hit.
Yeah. That's one where that was also I came to that one a few years later. I think that weirdly in the college I went to out in Tacoma, I had this teacher at my freshman seminar. I don't remember what the class name was. I remember really liking the teacher, and I remember being it was formative in a lot of ways because a lot of the kids were like some of the kids for some reason like found out. I remember that he only had like a master's instead of a PhD, but he had been working at the school for like 30 years or something. But the kids were like they still like I remember like class like this guy's not even a like I just remember thinking like that is the weirdest like this is like clearly like this very passionate guy. But I think a lot of them it was very like kind of like upper class school, and he was like very much kind of like more of a working class guy. They
Yeah.
kind of done it, but it was interesting. I also think I love the content, but I remember it was like the weirdest thing I'd ever taken because like, I think it was around like greatness or like art and like achieving and like history or something like that of like actually trying to like put your best foot forward and like, what makes an artist and all that. It was a really fascinating class. But the three things he had us compare were Citizen Kane, and because it's like this is what everyone regards as like at that time as like the greatest movie ever made, or Sight and Sound, Moulin Rouge, and like articles by Gary Smith, the Sports Illustrated writer, who I don't know if you know Gary Smith,
Yeah.
but I loved Gary Smith as a kid. I still love Gary Smith. Gary Smith had my ideal job when I was growing up. because this was back when magazines were magazines, but like his only job was to write 4 articles for Sports Illustrated per year. That's like it. So they were like 4 in-depth. I think Sports Illustrated at that time was like a weekly or bi-weekly thing. I think it was weekly, but like that's all his thing was, just he wrote 4 meaty articles. That was his job, like, per year. But I think he ended up like, he was not only like the best sports writer of like 90s, 80s, whatever. He was also like just the best magazine writer. I think he won the National Magazine Award more time than anyone else or something. But it was just so weird for a class. It's like that was our essay for comparisons. Like Comparisons and Kane, a Gary Smith article about like Mike Tyson and like Moulin Rouge. But it honestly was very formative because he put something, like he said, like it's like literally probably stuck with me more than just about anything I've learned in college, where he's like, when Baz Luhrmann set out to make Moulin Rouge, he was like, Baz Luhrmann was trying to make a movie as good as Citizen Kane. He's like, you may not perceive it as this, and like probably no one thinks of it that, but like he was trying to make the greatest movie ever made by making this thing. And I was like, I just had never considered that for like something that wasn't like an art film or something.
Yeah.
Not that Moulin Rouge is an arty, but it's different than like a Meek's Cutoff, right? It's like, you know, I don't think she's trying to make something regarded as the greatest movie ever made, but like Luhrmann was. And I'm not criticizing Kelly Reichardt.
He's trying to be like broadly entertaining.
Yeah,
he's not trying to. I feel I've never thought about it, but like the way the camera moves in Moulin Rouge does feel kind of like how it moves in Citizen Kane.
Oh
like,
yeah,
kind of moves in and out of, you know, close.
They're both showmen, I think. Very maximalist, him and Orson Welles.
Yeah, it actually. Yeah, I've never thought about it before, but now that you,
it's a good comparison, honestly. yeah.
Like
shout out that teacher. I can't remember his name.
The dynamics of the camera and these like sort of big sweeping epics. I see it. I see it. It's there.
Yeah, it made me love Moulin Rouge, and then I didn't watch another Baz Luhrmann movie until like a year or two ago. I watched Romeo and Juliet, and I really loved that too.
Yeah, I mean, being a millennial woman, we were all impacted deeply by the Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet. It's really good though, and it I mean, I was already like literary and nerdy, but it really like, I think he just wanted to tell a good story, and I think he genuinely saw it that way. But it does make Shakespeare feel exciting, that like this isn't some old dusty guy, you know, talking about stuff that happened a long time ago. Like this is like core human experience stuff that you can relate to, you know, no matter where you grew up or when. Like it just is very human writing. And it really made me into like a big Shakespeare nerd.
Yeah.
As a kid, as a teenager.
Yeah. And still, probably, right? Everyone loves. I was writing a note in the way I shouldn't drive in text, don't drive in text, but I was writing a note because I was thinking about the Shakespeare video I made. I was like, I should read some more. I should Shakespeare.
Yeah. I love. I also was a theater kid, of course. I mean, I feel like that definitely tracks.
Yeah. I wasn't. We didn't, but not by choice. We just didn't have theater in Tennessee.
No.
We didn't have I didn't know what a theater kid was.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a big shock when I went to college.
I feel like at least half the people on TikTok are theater kids who don't have another outlet.
Certainly, yeah. Based on my podcast guest, that tracks. Seems like to be. There's a lot of people on TikTok, and there's a lot of theater kids.
It's a real. I feel like I can see them.
Yeah.
We had like a strong like musical program. Like would do big musicals every year, but I wasn't a very good singer. And so I was like, I'm going to be like into Shakespeare. And we did like Shakespeare competitions and and like would perform Shakespeare scenes over and over again. It was really fun. I
should know, you know, the third, because I did Rebecca Botter. Shout out Rebecca was a Shakespeare one. I did a iambic pentameter intro for that episode, which was a lot of fun.
I followed her after that episode because I was like, this girl seems really cool.
Did you make it through?
I don't know if I finished the whole thing.
It's okay. Someone claimed they made it through the 6 hours. So shout out whoever you are to do that.
Half.
Yeah. We're going to do another one, I think. Where I was talking with her the other day about it. because she has a very good knowledge of like all these lonely. I feel like you and her should do an episode of something of some kind. You guys would, I think, would.
That's I
get
listened to
along
this
famously.
episode and I was like, I wish she was my best friend. She seems to
Yeah,
feel like
great.
there's a lot of crossover.
Yeah, yeah. Especially like when you did the sad Victorian Spring, because I think there was a comment we went to go about. I think I shouldn't rehash it. I think we were laughing about. I think she wrote an article about how someone I think called her. She like said like a date that she was on had like sad Victorian eyes or something like that.
Oh.
So I was like, that's like
It's a strong aesthetic.
yeah. This is a strong aesthetic. Yeah, that's what I remember. I was like, I was like, that sounds like a compliment, to be honest. You know.
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone told me that on a date.
Yeah.
The one actually, we were talking a little bit off camera about the about like men versus like women's experience on like TikTok and like comments I've gotten or not, and like I was saying that like every comment I've gotten pretty much has been like this content sucks, as opposed to like me as a person suck. Except one, I've gotten one where it did. Well, I don't know. Well, it did get like I was laughing. I was both laughing and crying because like it was just so funny that like I made a thing. I can't remember which video it was, but about like I was talking about the experience of men versus women, and I was like, every woman on TikTok and like I think it was in the Predator one, like has the experience of being sexualized. Like, because that's just like your experience as a woman, right? It's just like you can't exist in the public space without people doing that to you, putting that upon you. And I was like, but I don't got to worry about that as a male TikToker in the same way. And just someone wrote in, it's like, well, the reason you don't have to worry about it is because you're not attractive. It's like, you should check out attractive guys on TikTok. And I was like, I just wrote like LMAO or something, because I was like, buddy. And someone else got on and was like, they were defending me. It's like, oh, don't it's like, oh, I find him attractive or something like that. Or it's like, it's like, that's not true. And he responded back, he's like, no, it's true. Like, look at him or something like that. I'm just like, brother, like, come on. Yeah.
Doubling down.
Yeah, I didn't. It's too funny to like remove or delete or ban, but I'm like, that's the one that's like, come on, man. you don't need to say that. Yeah. It's a really funny comment.
That you had that, but it's just like,
it's very funny.
I love when people are just
Yeah.
like empirically they're like, this is the facts.
Yeah. No, it's like, look at you. You are not attractive. It's like you're yeah, you don't have to worry about being sexualized, but other people who are more attractive than you do.
But the guy who insisted that you're not attractive was a man?
I don't know. I assume so. It felt like a male comment. This is,
It tends to be.
Yeah. I was about to get into my Norma Desmond area, just being like, you chauvinist pig, like, how dare, just like, yeah.
I feel like men are much more likely to police attractiveness, like in that way, where it's like very binary, like either you are or you aren't. And I feel like men often have like no clue about like what women actually find attractive.
Yeah, based on as you called me out for with the Jimmy Stewart thing,
as like
famously.
The basis of our friendship.
Yeah, that was a rough patch, but we got through it. And I totally get it. I will say it's like the Jimmy Stewart thing, like, or not the Jimmy Stewart thing, but what was I going to say? The reason I thought it was a man is because it wasn't specific enough. Based on my childhood experience with male and female bullying, there was definitely like part of the reason I hated Amherst when we moved from like Springfield to Amherst. Like Amherst is like a town with like 5 colleges. It's like, and I didn't really like large parts of it. One is because there was like in 6th grade, I remember there's like this like bad bully, this girl that I hated, and or I didn't hate her, but she hated me for whatever reason. And she was very specific with her insults, I remember. So it was just my experience of like when a lady has been in, when I've seen it or experienced it, like this felt like a male insult because it was just like, well, you're not attractive. But I feel like a woman, like if it was a woman, it'd been like, well, actually, like he's not doing it because he has no, like, his cowboy hat sucks, or like, or something like that, or like, that felt to me more of an expression of it. Maybe I'm reading into it. Sorry if I misgendered you, internet commenter who told me I was busted. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like yeah, I've had girl bullies like when I was growing up, and they'll like call you out on something that you never thought about before, and now you can't stop thinking about it. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
they're like a precise a strategic hit that will like linger for many years. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
girl
need
bullies
more of it,
are
to be
bad.
honest with you. I probably could use another dose of it because I think it could be helpful. That could be a service. If you know any mean girls.
Just to find some mean girls who are like channel their powers for good.
Yeah. I've thought about this might be the second episode in a row. I don't remember when I brought this up. I might have deleted it. I think I just deleted it. I was talking about this with another creator on another, well, not the same idea, but like I guess this would be an extension of the idea. I should probably just explain the idea. The idea would be I've talked with my friends up in Chicago. Like I have some trans friends up there, and like some people, other friends. Like I have a bunch of them, right? And so I was saying like because of what I look like, it's like I was like I thought about starting a service as like I'll just be your chaperone or something, just like so you don't get like bothered by cops or like other things, or like if you just want to like go around like walk around the city or whatever else. It's like it's not like a bodyguard because I'm not gonna I'm not gonna beat anyone up or anything like that, nor could I probably. But it's like I will lend you my privilege is like kind of like the service I was gonna be.
This white guy shield just
Yeah. Yeah, I'll lend you my white guy clout because like I'll put the cowboy hat on. I'll go in the mustache. Like I look like a property owning white dude, and so cops generally tend to give me a broad leeway. So it's like maybe I could do that as a service. I think.
yeah.
But I was thinking maybe the extension of this would be just like, yeah, if there's mean girls out there, that would be the thing of like insult. Like I need that like that very specific insulting that I get a lot from. I have a lot of gay friends, like gay male friends, and other people, but I don't have as many mean lady friends as I should. So I need to hear that because I've had like a couple of the insults, and it's like, damn, am I really like? Is that really how
No, I think you, especially online, you always have to take it with a grain of salt because you're not going to be for everyone. But
Yeah,
yeah, just let like one person's weird opinion change things. But I would say trust to your community of gay and trans friends because they always
yeah.
have the best. They understand like about identity and how you present yourself in the world. I think better than
Oh yeah,
straight people usually do.
for sure. And they're very mean, a lot of them. Not like I don't mean that as like a bigoted thing, but like my group of people are very, very mean. That's the other thing why like any of the insults about like don't is like I've had nuclear level gay insults thrown at me for years.
The most powerful ones
The
sometimes.
most powerful one. So it's like you can't. It's like someone like, yeah, these people try and get on and like insult my video or something. It's like, come on, like you got to put in some effort here because like I've had some mean shit said. Like, yeah.
I remember. I don't know. Maybe we cut this out. Maybe it's too broad about the gay community. But like, I was a theater kid, so I had lots of gay friends in high school and university, and my interests just tend to intersect with that community. And I always was like, if one of like my gay friends said they liked my outfit, I was like, I'm really cooking today. And then for a while, I worked at Circuit City back when it existed
Oh wow, yeah.
because I wanted the discount on the DVDs.
Shout out.
Yeah, so I sold TV and I had to wear like the ugly red Circuit City polo. And one time I was like, I left work and I was getting some lunch and like this gay couple saw me and I didn't know them, but like, I don't know, I see a gay couple and I'm like, they're probably my friends, like in some universe. They like looked me up and down and just like gave me the look like, and I was like, this. I was like, this isn't how I dress. This isn't how I would normally dress.
Oh
I thought I was amongst friends, and then
yeah.
they were
How
right.
dare you work at Circuit
It
City?
was ugly, though.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I can't blame them. They were right.
yeah. This store had a weird vibe too.
Circuit City?
Yeah. After they got rid of the computer games, I was very upset.
Yeah.
I remember in my childhood is Was your dad happy that you worked there? That's like the most dad store. He was.
My dad is a huge audiovisual guy. Like he has a big home theater in the
I'm
basement, and
shocked.
like he's obsessed with like sound systems, and he's always tweaking and perfecting his audiovisual setup. And
Same.
so, yeah, and you
Yeah.
guys would have a lot to talk about because
Well, yeah, well, I was gonna say same for me, but same for my dad too. My dad is like specifically, he's like, even being near blind and near deaf, he's just like obsessed with AV stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's my dad. That's like his, I would say his number one hobby for the majority of my life was
yeah,
like tinkering with his home movie system. And I was selling TVs. I was specifically on the TV floor. So for a short period of time, I knew everything about the
that's cool.
latest in TV technology. But that was oh, a
That's
long
really cool.
now. So
Yeah,
I don't know. But that was a very male dominated area. I felt like Elizabeth in the Hanging Tree.
just so listening to a bunch of guys I love, speaking of the audio, I love the audio, the sound design on, especially the scene where it's kind of the number one thing where you realize it's the perspective shift in Meek's Cutoff is, or like not the number one thing, but one of the many things is like there's a scene where all four of the guys are talking, but you just hear them mumbling.
Yeah.
And I wrote it down as like, I'm going to use this as another example of like, not that I'm anti-subtitle, but like, I wish there was, I hope subtitles don't tell what that scene says, because I don't think you're meant to hear what those guys are saying. You're
Yeah.
just kind of meant to hear like muffling a little bit, the way you would if you were like a woman cut out of decision making, right?
Yeah, where you're just
Yeah.
looking in. Yeah. Yeah, we always have subtitles on because
Mm,
um English is my husband's second language. And so for him it's a lot easier to keep up with things if subtitles are on.
did they play it during that scene? Did you rewatch? I don't know if you rewatched it, but
I turned the subtitles off because the framing, they were like covering up
oh
the
yeah,
framing because of the aspect ratio. It was distracting.
out of way.
Yeah. So I took them off for this particular viewing because I was just watching it by myself, but we
Yeah.
almost always have them on. And sometimes they help, but sometimes they like kill the joke or like sometimes it's fun to like pick up on things you maybe never heard before, but I'm kind of with you too. Like sometimes it's better for it to be like low and I don't know.
I've thought about like trying to design. I think like when I re-released the short, I'm gonna try and release it with subtitles, a version with subtitles. But I might try and do like a very special version of them where like when it's meant to be quiet, like make the subtitles really small or something, or like try and give them the same artistic, because that's what they don't do, which I think.
Yeah.
Like I think you can have them, but I would like maybe have some come in on the side of the frame, or like
Yeah.
some come in like just like trickling in or flash really quickly. They
I
should probably
think,
be treated with like the same amount of artistic care.
like the original John Wick, I think does that with like the Russian characters. I think the subtitles are kind of stylized.
I disliked that movie, so I
Oh no.
blocked it out. Yeah,
Kind of like comic book style sort of subtitles and the
yeah.
new White Lotus season did some kind of interesting
Mm, I
things
can
with
see that. I like season one.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it's fine. It's not like you have to go watch it, but if you like prestige TV and seeing rich people in nice clothes on TV, it's a fun watch. But anyway, I'm not going to get into White Lotus, but like it would come up in like Thai and then kind of morph into English as they were talking, and it was kind of interesting.
That's neat.
Stylistic choice, yeah.
Yeah, I should watch that. It's hard. I don't want to be too divorced from the culture, but also like it's
Also, who cares?
yeah.
Sometimes the culture sucks.
Yeah, sometimes it's, yeah. I don't know how much you want to talk about, like, your thoughts on parenting, but I'd be curious about like how, as a movie lover, how are you going to approach that with your daughter, like in terms of like, is she going to be I don't even know what the kid thing is now. What was I watching? Like, I can't remember what my buddy's kid watches. Is Coco Melon? Is that something?
Yeah, that's
Is that
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah. Sorry,
It was
yeah.
like, yeah, but I remember when I grew up, so this probably explains. Like I told us, I didn't watch Disney movies. because my
I
mom and
remember
grandma,
that.
yeah, and
Because your mom and
like
grandma were like feminists and they thought that it was like reductive.
they were feminists. Yeah, you can actually see. Is it one of their so you can see a picture of my grandma giving the middle finger. That's my
Yeah.
grandma. That's them in Europe. That's at a place called Vine and Focken. I think in oh, it just went off. It's like Vine and Focken in oh damn it.
No, there's a.
I'll just send you. Yeah, now there's a. There you go. Yeah,
She
that's
looks
my.
cool.
Yeah, she's very cool. Yeah, that was probably they just got back from a hike, and I think that was in the Netherlands. But it was like Vine und Focken. So her and my grandpa were both just going like that to the camera. Very cool. But yeah, I watched like Time Bandits, and we watched like a lot of Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, Last Action Hero. Just I don't know. I was trying to think of a movie like I didn't really almost ever watch quote unquote kids movies that I remember, like Looney Tunes. I guess but that's not even then. That's I mean I guess it's
Looney Tunes is, but I think
yeah.
it was for adults.
They played a lot of them before. That's
Like,
one thing I like about the DVDs. A lot of the time they have Looney Tunes on them, which I love. Like the Warner ones will have the Warner Night at the Movies, where they'll play like a newsreel and a short film in a Looney Tunes, and then you can sort of set it up that way, which is neat. I wish they still did that. I'd go crazy if I went to a theater and they played some Looney Tunes beforehand.
Instead of a million commercials for like a car and Amazon.
Yeah. But do you want to talk about? Do you mind, or do you
Yeah,
want me
I'm happy to
Okay.
talk about that. I mean, I don't really care if people think I'm
What is your daughter's social security number? No, I'm kidding. I don't care.
full name,
Yeah.
her address. No, I won't give her name, or if there's any details about like
Mini Saquon. That'll be what the
mini sequel. Cute.
yeah.
Yeah. She's 3.5. We watch too much TV. What are you gonna do? For a long time, she was like, the first year where kids like go to school or to daycare, they catch every virus ever. And so we're coming out of that where it's been like a year and a half or more of her being sick like every week.
Jeez.
And like, when you're sick that much, what are you gonna do? Like we watched a lot of cartoons. And like I love movies, and that's something that I want to share with her. Like I've talked about my dad sharing stuff with me, and that was like a great way for us to connect. And I have such good memories of watching movies with my dad. So we watch a lot of movies. She doesn't have an iPad or anything, and I don't let her watch stuff on my phone when we're out in the world, because when we're out, I want her to like be out and engaged with stuff. But we have Disney Plus. We watch a lot of Disney movies, and I'm really trying to, like, I try to make movie watching like an experience with both of us, where like we're talking about it, where like she'll be kind of playing or telling me about what's going on, and try to make it like an engaged experience. So it's not just like, using TV as a babysitter, but sometimes you got to just put on a cartoon. But it's really interesting. She's finally getting old enough to kind of have taste and have opinions on like what she wants to watch. And
Just getting big into Ingmar Bergman probably at this age, right? Yeah.
kids
Seven Seal.
love Ingmar Bergman. Kids love Scenes from a Marriage. Yeah. But I'm seeing that she's like a little bit of a spooky kid. Like she can handle kind of more intense stuff. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Secret of Nim. It's not Disney, but it's, if you want to get into animation, it's a really incredible piece of work. But a lot of, kids say that they were like traumatized watching it when they were kids, but she really likes it. So I'm trying to kind of nurture her spooky side and kind of slowly show her like more and more stuff that I think she might be interested in. She has like, the imagination is really coming online. Like she likes Alice in Wonderland a lot. I think she has kind of a surreal sensibility, which sounds like kind of pretentious to say that about a kid, but like she is kind of connecting to these weird things. And so I've started showing her sometimes kind of edited down, like 80s dark fantasy stuff, like Neverending Story. And I showed her Return to Oz. I don't know if you ever watched that.
That's like the sequel, right?
That's the sequel, like from the 80s. And
I've been recommended that. That's really weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
And she really liked it. So I think for other kids her age, that might be like too intense or too scary, but I'm trying to like foster this kind of weird energy that she seems to have and try to show her stuff that kind of catches her imagination. And so far, like we always talk about everything, like if this is too scary, we'll turn it off. Like if you don't like it, we don't have to watch it. But as someone who loves weird cinema myself, I'm kind of like, yes.
Yeah.
Let's go down this path a little bit and kind of see what she's into. And I also think like if you don't show kids weird stuff when they're like young and their minds are open, in some ways they may never
like learning a language, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
it is a language. It's a surrealist language.
yeah. I feel like part of the reason why I like old movies is because my parents showed them to me when I was young and I kind of understood the pacing and stuff. And like if you never watch that stuff when you're a kid, I think it's really hard to get into old movies if you never watched them when you were younger because the pacing and the vibe is so different.
For sure.
It's kind of like, yeah, like you said, it's a language, a cinematic language that you're trying to access. But
yeah. I'd be curious, like, would you ever recommend someone who wasn't, like, how many movies would they have to, like, you know that I obviously really like movies, but for, like, Meek's Cutoff, right, it's, like, probably not something, like, if it's, yeah, it might be something that probably would be hard to, if that's your first exposure to, like, an art film, it's almost like, oh, this is what an art film is, it's, like, a bunch of, like, well, I can't hear anything, it doesn't go anywhere, it's, like, it's almost like but to me, I'm, like, inject that into my veins, like, I want to watch everything else she's...
Like I hear people talking and they're like, that movie was so boring, nothing happened. I'm like, my ears perk up. Like, what?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. More.
For Werkmeister Harmonies, it's like this was the like the second one. I mean, the Horse of Turin is like a 10-minute scene of a guy eating a potato, and it's like 3 hours and 15 minutes long.
Let's go.
And, yeah, Saint Tango, that 7-hour one. It's like me and my buddy are like, we're gonna get like probably 30 beers and like 30 Crystals or White Castles or something. We're just going to sit down for a Sunday afternoon and just like try and just get it without getting up, basically.
Yeah.
Because he's like, there's no intermission because he's like, I don't want this played. The director's like, I don't want this played with an intermission. So we're like, all right, let's get nuts here.
Respect his wishes.
Yeah. This real thing's interesting with kids. I'd be curious, like I can't remember. I don't know if it was Lynch who said it himself, or if it was someone who said it about Lynch's work, about like, I think that is a thing. They were saying that like people think Lynch is like hard to understand for people, but generally most people who watch Lynch, who end up watching it, really like it because they were saying that like the world is like surrounded by, like we're surrounded by surrealism. Like on some level, it's like there might be a World War III starting like tonight or something, right? Like I guess this morning for you, tonight for me. So it's like that, it's surreal to be doing a podcast in light of that, right? Like, I think people are surrounded by that. So I'd be curious for, like, probably everything. I remember to a kid, everything kind of felt, now that I think about it, probably most things feel surreal to you because it's like...
The world is so weird.
Yeah. Why is there a building here that I've never seen?
Yeah.
And then, why am I suddenly having to, I don't know, like, for example, I was like, why am I having to go to this funeral and everybody who's normally very happy is crying now or something, It's just like, it's a weird thing.
That's like the real pleasure of having a child in your life is like you start to see things with that kind of fresh perspective. Like, it's really interesting. Like, she is excited about every single bird and tree she sees. And like, there's these animals that are flying around. Like, it's... the gift of flight is a miracle, and like she still sees it as something exciting every time that it happens, and feels really special.
Movies too, I'd imagine. It's like every time you see a new movie. I love movies as kids, or as a kid, still do, but it's always nice. And
I don't want to like judge anyone for putting on Cocomelon. Like, we're all just trying to live, but. Do try to, as much as I can, have her watch something that has some sort of artistic value or like at least is beautiful in some way. Yeah. That stuff is like going into their brain and forming who they are as people. And there's a lot of stuff that's for kids that is just like loud and ugly and...
Oh God, those like horrific auto-generated AI things, even just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Did you see the art? Maybe it was like 4 or 5 years ago. It was like probably 2017, before even like the current wave of AI stuff. But like about the kid shows, like the people that were taking advantage of like auto generated YouTube or like auto play YouTube stuff, where they were just like generating these mass amounts of videos where of like lizards turning into dinosaurs or like people eating bowling balls. Like they had just a bunch of nouns in this program that would generate like people turn into bowling balls and then eat this thing. They come out as like the Joker or something in Batman and Superman, and they were just making millions of these videos that kids were watching.
And of course kids are like fascinated by that, but I don't know. I do try to like no one's 100% and we're all just trying to live as parents. It's really hard work and you got something. But I do try to, because film is important to me and I want her to like appreciate it as an art form, I try to have her watch some stuff that has some sort of artistic merit. She really likes the original Wizard of Oz, which is also actually like quite and surreal. And she likes Singing in the Rain, but I mean, she also likes Frozen like every other kid her age. So it's not like I'm only showing her classic, but just like an actual film that like humans made and like thought deeply about for a few months, and at least something that has some sort of, it's at least a movie that was made by
Millie, the TTRPG DM, picked Puss in Boots: The Last Witch and I was blown away. But I was like sitting up at like, again, I watched it like at 3 a.m. the night before. I was just crying, just like teared up watching that thing. I was like, this movie's made for me. It's about a guy. It's like basically he's Tony Soprano. It's like a guy with a midlife crisis having panic attacks. Puss in Boots in that movie.
The animation sounds really cool in that Puss in Boots movie.
The what does? I'm sorry.
The animation style, like the sort of comic book, like feels kind of. It feels really more tactile than a lot of the like CGI stuff.
It does, and they mess with like frame rates and stuff too. And they like, I was really impressed all the way around by it.
Animation is so. I don't feel like I'm a big. I've always liked animation, but I know some people are like super into it. I don't feel like I'm like that, but having it like on in my house all the time, you start to really appreciate. There's something kind of meditative about, like kids want to watch the same movie over and over and over again. So you end up watching something that you didn't think about very much, like 27 times, and you start to really like sit with it. You're like, this actually is really interesting as a work.
About to have some wild takes on Frozen or something. Just like,
they really
did Frozen predict the banking crisis of 2008?
This is actually really a meditation on women's choices and.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Okay, so know.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
I watched my husband showing me all these Italian movies that I don't think ever made it out of Italy. But I can't remember the name of this one. Anyway, it was all about this sort of like CIA action and all these car accidents and all this. I
believe it. Well, I'd love to see that if you know that. Yeah, if you remember
Il Divo, maybe.
Okay. Well, famously too, Pasolini got killed by he got killed for making Sallow, which was a critique of I don't know if you've seen Sallow. Hard watch. The hardest watch of all time, one of potentially Pasolini, but he made it as like he took a Marquis de Sade thing and set it during like the fascist state in the 1940s. It's like the best movie about like how the 1% I think actually feels about the rest of us, because they're just like, it's just 2 hours of them going nuts on like, and just torturing and abusing people. But he got killed by people for it because he was like a noted leftist.
Oh
yeah. That was the last film.
Sorry, I was looking. It's Il Divo by Paolo Sorrentino. My husband really likes Sorrentino. He just had a new movie come out this year. He's a really interesting filmmaker from Naples, and very like rooted in like Southern Italian I don't know, culture, ethos.
Yeah. If you if I was going to impress your husband, like if he's ask him if he's impressed by me having seen La Scorta, 1993 by Ricky Tognazzi, The Escort, La Scorta.
Scorta.
It's Sicily in the 1990s, and it follows like I think the relatively, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's like about like people prosecuting the mafia and that going poorly.
Okay, yeah, I know it.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
I didn't think it was very good, but but it was like it was definitely like something that it's weird to see. I just haven't seen many 90s Italian movies.
Yeah,
It's kinda
they
weird
were
for me.
like really like post-war. They were really active, and now there's like a handful of kind of big directors coming out of Italy. But
Yeah.
this, anyway. But actually, one of the
Okay.
this Paolo Sorrentino, when my husband and I went on our first date, and he told me to watch La Gran Bellezza
Oh,
by
that's cool.
Sorrentino, and he was like really shy, and I wasn't even sure if I liked him. And then I watched this movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's like artistic and deep, and
That's awesome. I
so
love that.
uh, that's Paulo Sorrentino is part of why we're together.
I need
Because
to.
I was impressed by his movie recommendation.
That's awesome. I love that. I love hearing those stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's,
A good movie recommendation is definitely a way into the heart.
like you can tell a lot about, like I said, I mean, I think he was kind of shy about his English, and he didn't talk very much. And I was like, I don't know, like I don't know if I'll see this guy again. Um, but I was like, okay, like I like movies, and I watched this movie, and it was Paolo Sorrentino is really influenced by Fellini, and it's very similar to La Dolce Vita. Like they would make a really
Okay.
good. Uh, uh,
That's the next Fellini I'm going to watch. I was just talking about that today.
you've never watched it?
Mm-mm. Late coming to Fellini.
It's one of my very favorites. I wrote like 3 papers about it when I was like in
That's
college
exciting.
because it really hit me hard.
We were doing Fellini Wednesdays because we did Delmer Daves Mondays. We did Fellini Wednesdays for a month, and we were just devastated from Thursday to Friday for like a whole month because we'd watched like Nights of Cabiria and La Strada back-to-back weeks, which I'll never do again. I'm not powerful enough to do that again. And literally just one of my housemates just fucking yeah, there's like sad parts of Nights of Cabiria, and he loves brown liquor, and so we just heard like every time there's a sad scene we just heard thump, and he was just like had drinking like a whole fifth of liquor by the end of it. Just pouring it out, just drinking brown straight whiskey.
Well, if you want to like
So sad.
supplement your Fellini nights, La Gran Bellezza pairs really nicely with La Dolce Vita, and then
La Gran Bellezza.
by Paolo Sorrentini, and then he has an English language movie called Youth with Michael Caine, and that
Okay.
pairs really nicely with 8.5.
Okay.
If you want
That's
to like
exciting.
really dive into some Italian,
Yeah, I think they're probably the best filmmaking pound for pound. I think I go America because of the wealth and the depth of, and just personally. But I think Italy probably like pound for pound is I think the best. They're the only ones like I think country wise that has an argument of like they have the breadth and depth of competing with America. I think on everything.
yeah, they're like the Cinecittà studio is like
Yeah.
on par with American studios as far as just like a resource to shoot
Yeah.
things and have things look great. And I don't they I don't want to speak broadly about, like a culture,
Hmm.
but they just have like such a sense of aesthetic and beauty, and that I don't you go to Italy and it's just like crazy how beautiful everything is.
Yeah, it's so ancient. I love
Yeah,
it about La Chimera. I don't know if you saw that when that came out. Like,
it's on my list, but it just like hasn't. I really
another great female modern director, Alice Rohrwacher. Yeah, but yeah, they have Bertolucci. We went and saw the Conformist. He now has 2 movies that just totally blew me away. But the Conformist we saw at the Gene Siskel Theater in Chicago like a month or 2 ago when we were visiting, and just out like crazy movie. Actually, for your I think it's like visually, it's like the thing that most influenced The Godfather. When we were talking about The Godfather before. Yeah,
Right.
it feels very Godfathery, but it's about like a fascist guy who's like kind of switching sides and like he's just conforming to whatever the thing is, and it's like it felt very horrific for like modern times. And then we also watched Luna, which I think is actually even probably will never ever do a full episode on the pod because of the subject matter. But it is a crazy movie that he pulls off somehow that actually is like not a joke, because it's about a mom who her son is like it's actually, is she American? If I almost don't even want to let me see. I got it because it was like I saw a score by Ennio Morricone. It was Morricone who did the score.
Yeah.
Obviously tremendous.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find the score listed anywhere, so I was like, I gotta buy this to do it. And concerns the troubled life of a teenage boy and his relationship with his parents, including an incestuous relationship with his opera singer mother. And yeah, it's Jill Clayburgh, so it's an American who is like formerly married to like another American who I think is played by John Lithgow.
Okay.
Lithgow, or no, Fred Gwynn. I knew it was someone weird. Do you know? I don't know if you know the name Fred Gwynn. Have you seen?
It sounds familiar.
My Cousin Vinny.
Uh-huh.
He's the judge in My Cousin. The two Utes.
Okay.
Did you say Utes like that guy? He plays like he's in this weird, Italian movie. But it's like this mom who's like she wants to save her son from like his heroin addiction and also like joining a gang. So she's like, well, I'll just be whatever I can to him, and that includes somehow just everything. But it's like a commentary on like Italian, like Madonna horror type Sopranos type things, and like the ancientness of it. And it's like it sort of ties in like the architecture and the history of Italy, as you were talking about, with just like this really kind of just soap opera-y bizarre story. And he somehow pulls it off in a weird way. It is a shocking watch. But
There is, I mean, it makes sense as like a cultural commentary because there is an intense mother thing in Italy. Like
if you ever want a movie about that, it's like
they're taking like a cultural phenomenon and making it literal, but like I get it. I know.
yeah. It's but between Bertolucci and Pasolini and Fellini and now Paolo Sorrentino, right, and Alice Rohrwacher and Vittorio De Sica, and who's the Dario Argento and
Dario the
Giallo guy,
yeah
yeah,
and all like the spaghetti westerns, like that's
yeah Sergio Leone and who's the Luchino Visconti, who did it. If you like the costume, have you ever seen The Leopard? It's like a 3-hour Burt Lancaster epic, right? Yeah, that's a fun one.
It's on TV in Italy all the time.
Is it really? That's funny. It's like the Italian Giant. Like that's like with I didn't like it as much as Giant, but
it's and they like remake it all the time. It's a big classic. Like the book is a big classic over there too.
Well, I don't know why they got Burt Lancaster for the movie. Because like it feels like any old Italian guy could have played that.
I think there was just like the whole dubbing culture over there with their like film production. They're just like, it doesn't matter. We just like need your face. Because they just
that's true.
Everything.
I guess Fellini did that too because he got Anthony Quinn and Lystrata and who was the other guy? Il Bidone. He got Broderick Crawford, who Steve Harvey is named after. That's a random connection. I always think I can't think of Broderick Crawford, the old actor who's in Il Bidone and Big House USA and a bunch of other stuff, but Steve Harvey, his real name is Broderick Stephen Harvey, and he's named after Hollywood actor Broderick Crawford.
That is a deep cut.
Yeah. I made a TikTok video about it. I thought it was gonna be a hit. It wasn't a hit. I was like, I thought I had a good hook. I was like, Steve Harvey's named after this guy. But it didn't get many views.
It wasn't a hit. You never know, though. Sometimes it's like the weirder offbeat stuff really takes off.
Yeah, I was looking at because I followed you on TikTok, and so I was looking at your, just the light amount of research I did, not to the, episode I did with Rebecca, which was a lot of fun. But I was looking, I noticed Is it the Madonna one? Oh, I just accidentally turned it on. My headphones went crazy.
I'm sorry.
Your Madonna? No, it's not your. It's not. It's just.
This is like I've had the jump scare of like I go to check my notifications or something and the volume's all the way up and it's like just my voice like blasting in my ear. Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. That definitely, absolutely. Yeah. I always forget to turn my volume down when I'm answering the comments, so I keep hearing my intro to my thing every time. You know?
It starts to drive, well, I don't know about you. It starts to drive me insane. I start to be like, why do I talk like that? Why did I say it that way? Why is my stupid voice, my stupid face?
I start to dissociate. Thankfully, I don't have as much of that. I've been able to, like, I'm trying to keep my arrogant parts of my brain are like, I'm the coolest guy in the world type, you know, just like.
That's the energy you need. You just need to be delusional to post.
But this has 155,000 likes, and I'm assuming like some type of million. Oh, what is it? 623,000 or so 1.3 million views of Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Did you know that was going to be a hit? Did you suspect that one was going to be a hit?
Nope.
Why is that one a hit? Is it because it's Marilyn? You got a book by these Marilyn people?
I think Marilyn Monroe does a lot of heavy lifting, and I mean, doing a series on her was kind of strategic to grow my account because I knew that Marilyn can pack them in even now. I think that one, it's about Eve Arnold, who is, she was like the first female photographer for Magnum photographers. And she's one of the few women who shot photographs of Marilyn Monroe. And so like the intro is kind of male gaze versus female gaze about how almost all the images we have of Marilyn were created by men, male filmmakers or male photographers. But we have this exception of Eve Arnold kind of giving us a glimpse of Marilyn through the female gaze. And I didn't think it would do particularly well, but like, I think most of the people that like love Marilyn now are women. I feel like she was initially kind of this like pinup, like male gazy, you know, sex symbol. But I think her legacy now is like women feel really connected to her and her struggle and her experience being a woman in the world. And so I think, you know, women are hungry for that view of Marilyn Monroe that's not kind of sexualized or objectified, just like her as a person.
Was Blonde any good? The new movie? Did you see that?
I didn't even finish it. I had turned it off because
was it not good?
I really didn't like it.
Oh, I really like that director. So I was curious. I hadn't seen it.
He did something I liked. I can't remember.
Killing Him Softly and the Assassination of Jesse James. One of those 2007 westerns.
Yeah, I really like The Assassination of Jesse James.
How did you? I don't think I was supposed to. I remember I wanted to. I don't know if I ever saw your video on. You did a series on her in Niagara was one of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you like Niagara? I was curious to hear your take on that. I remember seeing a preview, but I don't know if I ever saw the video.
Yeah. Some people have gotten in my comments. I said that the movie is pretty unremarkable except for Marilyn's performance. I was, you know how it is. I had more nuance about the film, but I cut it out just to get to like the dress because that's what the people want. I think, I think Marilyn's, I mean, spoiler alert for a very old movie. Marilyn's death scene, I think, is really visually like stunning. The bell tower and the shadows, and she has that like bright yellow scarf. Like, I really love those kind of noir elements in color. I think are really great. But I think the life of kind of goes out of the movie after Marilyn's dead, and I don't think. The guy who plays her husband is
William Holden.
Yeah. Is that?
Anyway. Or is he the other guy? He's the main. Am I thinking of the right?
Like the couple that's kind of like the audience surrogate who's kind of like taking us through.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not William Holden. Joseph Cotton. I always get those two confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like,
William Holden. Yeah. I always think William Holden's in Citizen Kane, and he might be, but Joseph Cotton's definitely in Citizen Kane.
He doesn't, and like even the director has said that he wasn't like quite the right guy for the role. He just like doesn't quite, he's like not quite skeezy and evil enough. I don't know. For me, the ending kind of falls flat. So I say in my video that it's like generally unremarkable except for Marilyn Monroe. And I don't mean that as like it sucks. Like it's a good watch. It's worth watching. But I don't think
I'm not trying to get you offended. I was just. It actually, literally brought me. I just remembered the movie because when you said that the images of Marilyn were made by men and not women, I was just laughing when me and my buddy were laughing watching that movie. Like, this is a horny director. Like when he's filming her in the shower or whatever, it's like this guy was having a blast. Henry
Like the
Hathaway.
wiggle and the it's very she's very kind of devoured by the camera and
Yeah, he was horned up for that whole thing, which I thought was funny to
I mean,
watch.
there's nothing wrong with horny movies. Like it's not that like the male gaze is always bad or anything, but like it just like we
When
talked
you have
about
90 years uninterrupted of it.
Yeah, it's just it's nice to have a different perspective. Because I'm actually pro horny movies. Like we should have more, I think. But
Absolutely. I think it scales. It's one of my theories. I need to make a video about it, but I think my theory is that it scales with the more you can tell a director's fetish or what they're into, the more it scales with film quality generally, I think. Is like, if you can tell what because if he's really into like, Joe Anson's always Tarantino with feet or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if you can tell that in the movie, if the more that comes out, the more it's like, well, he's probably really horned up for audio design of some kind or something. I always think it's like, maybe it's just like dogs have like domesticated dogs have floppy ears or something type thing. But
I think, I mean, this is like an old discourse, but like, I do feel like that's why the like modern superhero movies feel so flat and lifeless because they're not horny at all. Like no one's horny for anything in those movies. There's
a great shout out Defector. I think there's a great article. I think they put it as everyone's beautiful and no one's horny or something like that.
I think about that article all the time.
Yeah.
Especially like, this stuff, it just feels, you're right. Like people who are horny are going to like be passionate in other aspects of their life. They're going to be horny about like shot composition or whatever. I just watched I'm shooting all my stuff really early. So because I have to take summer off to be with my kid. And I rewatched Lady Hawk, which is a Richard Donner movie. And like I watched that movie a lot when I was a kid, and I thought it was kind of like cheesy 80s fun. I put it on. I could not believe these shots. Like the shot composition was like so strong. Like he knows where to put this camera. I just was like blown away. It was better than I remembered, which is
he's a genius.
He's so good. Yeah. We don't have to have this in the whole podcast if this is going too far off track. But because like I'm home a lot because I don't have the right to work in France. And on TCM, they did Superman and Superman 2, and then they showed the Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. And so just because of the nature of like, I usually make some lunch and put on TCM, I watched them like really close together. And the Richard Donner cut was so weird and like artistic and creative and strange and surreal, and it was so fascinating. It really gave me like an appreciation for this director that I've never thought about really like as an artist, just because I watched his movies when I was a kid and I just wasn't like online, and like I hadn't made the connection that it was Richard Donner who did Superman and Lady Hawk and like Lethal Weapon and Goonies. And did he do Goonies? I think. Yeah.
I think Spielberg produced, he directed.
Yeah, I just hadn't made the connection because these were all movies I watched when I was really young. Anyway, it just like is so good and interesting and weird. And also, I don't know if you've seen Lady Hawk, but like the magic and like the effects are very weird in a really interesting way that was really similar to the Richard Donner cut of the Superman.
I need to rewatch this. It's been years since I've seen Superman 1 and 2. But this is a Richard Dawkins. Well, I'm sure his book's fine or whatever. He's been a weird dude, but like this is a Richard Donner house for sure. Yeah. Well, to bring it in with the westerns, I think he is the first. Lethal Weapon, I would again is another movie probably in my top whatever. It has an argument to me as being as good as any movie ever made. Like legitimately, yeah. I think personally, and I also think in terms of film history, it's the first thing to it's in conversation to bring it back with the western. It's the first thing to do like an update on sort of the western trope story since like The Searchers and everything, and like all these old, and Shane and all these old movies. Like I need to do a video on it, but like it's like there's that whole genre, and like, you know, we were making fun of with like Dorothy Johnson like being told to write in this like particular story, but The Searchers, like, and Shane did the thing of like and even fucking this movie and The Hanging Tree does it, of like, well, you have this fucked up guy and he's too much of a badass and he can't come in the house. Like that's the big thing with The Searchers,
Yeah.
like the final scene, he can't come back in the house. And you can and that's the thing, going back to like, to do my classics thing, going back to like the Iliad and Achilles, it's like, do you live this brief glorious life as this ultimate badass, or do you live like this no gory like family man type life? There's like this trope in like, got really popular in the westerns and then developed into the action movie, but then Lethal Weapon, I think very consciously, it shows like, as long as we very like male power, because like in like a good like male therapy thing, because it's like the power of male friendship can sort of bring in like, Mel Gibson gets invited back into the house, like he thinks he's gonna have to go away because he's this ultimate badass, but like through friendship you can kind of return your friend from suicide and being this like like he can come back into the family unit in a way that like is probably the first movie to do that, like after the westerns. It was like the first new story of an action movie of like
Civilization and wildness and these,
like 20 years
and the wild
until they finally let women starting making westerns. Yes. But like the male stories are pretty exhaustive. It's like, well, you can be the coolest badass ever, but you can't live with women or children, or, you know, you have to be the sheepdog.
Yeah.
You know, but then Lethal Weapon came in. So yeah, I love Richard Donner.
Yeah,
always very relevant.
Like I'm coming back around. It's, you know, I specifically wanted like nostalgic stuff for this like summer sleepover series, and movies that like I watched at sleepovers, and some of them I hadn't watched in so long, and I kind of, it's interesting to come back. Some of them hold up better than others. There's one thing in Lady Hawk that really doesn't hold up very well, but everything else is like, just the way it looks is so cool. And Rutger Hauer looks as cool as anyone's ever looked, and he has a cool sword, and just like the way it's shot and framed, I'm like, everything looks great. And it has the 80s synth soundtrack that is so of a time that like now it's charming.
I think not to hype my old podcast again, but the I think Larry McQueen, the costume guy, I think he has some Lady Hawk. I want to say he has some Lady Hawk in his collection. So when you're doing your fashion videos on it, or any videos on it, but like I think he has a couple
I might
costumes.
have follow-up questions. I watched most of that interview, but I'm not sure that I got all of it. But yeah,
what a gem that guy is.
Yeah, that was so interesting. How do you get into that? I guess you have to have a lot of money to start privately collecting movie costumes.
I think it used to be less, and I think he worked like studios used to just like sell the stuff, and like he was working as like an archivist or something. Yeah, and I think he was just like in contact, but he was also like working at like a law firm or something. I don't remember the exact, but he had like a partner that they did, and they were like, these things are just getting thrown out. And I think actually he said something about Debbie Reynolds, I believe.
She was a big collector.
Yeah. She had like thousands and thousands. Maybe he doesn't have Lady Hawk. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. He has a lot of the He-Man stuff, I know, which is pretty cool. Masters of the Universe
stuff.
Yeah, he has a ton of that, which is I really really liked looking. He has like Skeletor, He-Man, Evil Lynn, Trooper, Warlord, all these people. He does have Christopher Reeves as Superman and Superman 4. A little bit of a Donner connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a crazy collection. Yeah. I love Donner. I haven't seen The Omen. I need to see that one. That's another one.
I don't think I have either. I feel like I'm on the Richard Donner train now, just like these kind of two experiences. I'm like, I gotta
Maverick.
Appreciate this guy.
Yeah.
I've gotta give him his flowers. But like,
So should we do the so since I was looking at your thing, I was looking at you're going to each week So we'll hype up this every week. We'll be sharing another sleepover pick, and every Friday it's Crush of the Week, where we pick our crush of the movie. After this summer, we'll rank and pick our ultimate summer crush. So for Crush of the Week, I guess for Meek's Cutoff is Paul Dano. Seemed kind of the nicest of all the...
He's kind of the most crush-worthy. I mean...
He didn't get his ass kicked in this, did he?
I don't think he did.
It's kind of rare.
Like around. And his wife was kind of losing it, and he was trying to keep her kind of centered. I think, I mean, if we're staying heteronormative, I think Michelle Williams' husband is probably the best one. He just seems like very steady, and like he seems like he supports her. She
didn't seem that into him, though. I mean, maybe that's like a, you know...
It didn't seem like very romantic, but we're slim pickings here. I mean, like, the only person I like would genuinely have a crush on in Meek's Cutoff is probably Michelle Williams. Like, she's the most kind of dynamic and interesting. There's not a lot of crush-worthy men in the world of Meek's Cutoff. But
we could say, I'd do Michelle. I mean, Michelle Williams for sure. She's just such a great actress.
She looks great, even like all dirty and gross. She just like has incredible. Her face is so expressive, even when it's like very still. It just she feels it's so easy to connect to her somehow.
Yeah, it really actually. What was she? She's in. I did the whole episode on this, like Synecdoche, New York, right?
Yeah.
She's in that.
Yeah.
It gave me hope because like. I feel like I could be Philip. Now I can't be Philip Seymour Hoffman, but I could look like kind of like a portly, balding. But he eventually marries Michelle Williams in that, so I was like, hey, it's like, maybe, there's a chance. I just need to build a giant, elaborate theater thing, and
there you go, and spiral about existence and go.
Check. I have the health anxiety.
Done.
I have the ennui. I have most of what he has.
There you go.
I don't have the I don't have like the award-winning theater career Michelle Williams. So
yeah,
I just got the bad stuff. So crush. Okay, so Michelle Williams. I'll go a little Paul Dano because I love him.
He's. I was looking up like TikToks and Instagrams about Meek's Cutoff to see like what other people were thinking, like is it in the culture in any meaningful way, and the most content I found about Meek's Cutoff was like people who have crushes on Paul Dano doing like
is that a big I don't want to offend now I don't want to I'm not trying to pull another Jimmy Stewart here. I meant to say something about but yeah, is he like known as another is he a hottie, is he a babe?
I wouldn't have pegged him as like a babe, but
if you're out there, please cancel Jenna right now because as in revenge for me.
Well, listen, like whoever is out there, whatever man puts their face out publicly and isn't just an immediate nightmare, there's going to be some group of women that are super into them. Like this is the thing about like female attraction. I don't know exactly.
So I just need to wait, basically.
You just need to eventually. Wait. You're putting your face out there. You already have fans. I know you have. It's.
Welcome back, and we are going to do some movie recommendations, I guess, as a way to kind of wrap up. This time has flown by.
Yeah,
a great episode. Yeah, to do another episode. Okay, so movie recommendations on my side. I will say, I think I've probably said it a bunch of times, but the Werckmeister Harmony. If you like slow for Meek's Cutoff, I would say the Werckmeister Harmonies in Flowers of Shanghai. Also has like 40 shots in 2 hours. If you like the tea, I don't know if you've seen that one. If you like gossip in the tea, it's just 2 hours of women gabbing in Flowers of Shanghai in a Chinese opium house. And I think it's I always forget the guy's name who did it, but it's tremendous. Flowers of Shanghai, like 40 shots, also very slow, nothing but gossip. Love the movie. And then I was going to recommend The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford, but you turned off Blonde. But it's also like the other sort of weird, offbeat, slow modern western.
Yeah. No, I really like The Assassination of Jesse James, like a slow, weird, artsy Western.
Yeah, gay.
Yeah.
Very gay.
Very gay.
I always call it Persona for Boys, speaking of the Bergman reference. Yeah, because Affleck wants to both have sex with Brad Pitt and also be Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
feel
got
like
any specific ones for
I would,
Meeks?
like I said, I would recommend Kelly Reichardt's other films. Wendy and Lucy in particular, because I think Michelle Williams is so great in that. Sorry, I have to remember the name of the other one. There's another sort of Western Kelly Reichardt film that's like modern women, and it's just kind of these vignettes, but I can't remember the name of it because no. Kelly Reichardt.
I hope it's just called Modern Women.
Is it?
No, I don't. I was just thinking of like The Women or Little Women, just kind of in that same. That's also, I feel like, something our society does is like, if you're going to make a movie about women, you got to call it like, Little Women or The Women or.
You're going to die.
Like
it's called Certain Women.
Okay, there you go.
You weren't a million miles off. Certain Women also has Michelle Williams. It's kind of disconnected, but I think it has an early performance from what's her name from Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, Gladstone is in it.
Okay.
Kristen Stewart, Laura.
She was great, so great in Killers of the Flower Moon.
So it's this kind of disconnected stories of like women in the West, but it's like modern times, and it's really beautiful. And speaking of slow, I don't know if you've seen any Ozu movies.
Just Tokyo Story years and years ago.
Right. But I feel like Ozu has kind of a very similar energy to Reichardt, these kind of slow, domestic, like not a lot of camera movements. Honestly, it's hard for me to tell, like, in my memory, they all kind of blend together because his films are all so similar, but like you can't pick a bad one. They're all like very meditative and thoughtful and like these sort of obviously he's a male.
That professor I was telling you about, that classics one, he shamed me because he's very into Japanese film, and he was telling me about his Ozu collection and all this stuff. He didn't shame me purposely. I just felt shamed because I'd only seen Tokyo Story. And I've seen a lot of Japanese movies, just like weirder stuff. Like I've seen all Takeshi Kitano's and other stuff. But I just the episode that should be coming out 1 or 2 weeks I did with Michael, aka Sharky, was 35 Shots of Rum by Claire Denis, which is like very inspired by Ozu. So
I need to catch up on my Claire Denis because I am not well versed. But
Beau Travail is because you're in France. Yeah, Beau Travail. No. She's probably like my favorite French director, I would say. Not that I'm woefully underwatched on French.
I've heard so many good things about High Life. That's the name of it, right? I just keep hearing how great it is, and I feel like I know I would like it, and I just haven't gotten to it.
Jacques Tati, he's probably my other favorite French guy. Yeah. Jeu de Fête and all that.
I mean, France has a rich film. I was super into like the new wave stuff when I was in college because I loved the 60s and Girls with Bangs and,
mod style and all that.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
I'm very underwatched on French stuff. I'm about to crack into Renoir. I have a couple Renoir movies I need to get to. And Michel Carnet, I think. Michael Carnet. I did like the guy, Alain Delon's so hot. All the movies he's in. Shout out Alain Delon. One of the top 5 hotties. He's definitely crush of the week, Alain Delon, just thinking about him. The guy who directed him a bunch of, the guy who's like, he did the red something, not the red shoes, but the John Woo really liked him because you brought up Mission Impossible 2, it's all connecting, but the John Woo did like the introduction of Criterion.
All I can think of is the swimming pool with Alain Delon, but
I haven't seen that. Is that good?
Good. Yeah. It's very sexy. Very horny.
He's sick. Oh, Melville. Jean-Pierre Melville.
Okay.
Yeah. The Cirque Rouge, the Red Circle, I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good one. I liked his movies. He's a neat one. Okay, so if you like The Hanging Tree, if you want more of that, then I think the 5 canonical westerns for Delmer Daves are 3:10 to Yuma and Jubal. in the Badlanders and Cowboy. Cowboy's really gay. The Badlanders is, if you sympathize at all, I can't say that. What can I say? Yeah, I'll say that if you are inspired by the French Revolution and certain guillotines that may or may not have happened, then the Badlanders is tremendous.
Okay.
Ernest Borgnine and Alan Ladd and Katie Gerardo is really good. And Jubal as Glenn Ford and Rod Steiger, 310 to Yuma, tremendous. And then the Red House is his most worried one. But I have a whole list of Delmer Daves on my channel.
Okay.
And also Dorothy Johnson, shout out the man who shot Liberty Valance, which is a tremendous Western. Beautiful. Our guy Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne.
Yeah. That's the one where he calls him Pilgrim, right?
I feel like that could be like 30 John Wayne. You probably are right. I'm just thinking in my head of like him saying, like, yeah, I was at a community. Yeah. What are you doing with that gun, Pilgrim?
Pilgrim.
Yeah.
John Wayne is so weird that he's such an icon of masculinity because like his walk is so strange, his voice is quite specific.
Yeah, he preens. It's been fun. So that was like my dad. We watched a lot of movies, but we watched like 70s stuff and like 80s stuff a lot, and so I missed on like most musicals and a lot of westerns. I really didn't watch almost any of them. So it's been fun getting more and more into John Wayne. My brother's become such a huge fan of him, and I am too. Obviously not his politics, but yeah.
But his presence on screen is like undeniable.
He is a star.
Recommendations. Maybe this is like the anti-recommendation, maybe a contrast to Meek's Cutoff. But westerns and musicals, it made me think of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, watched it in college. After watching the Celluloid Closet, like I got to see this gay fucking thing. Yeah.
I mean, like the politics are questionable, but like the dance scene when they're doing the barn raising is like one of the most spectacular, like golden age musical dance.
Is it the one on the stage? It's literally been, probably
it's like a big stage, and so there's like the seven brothers and then the seven towns folks who wants to dance with the girls, and they're kind of battling it out to get the attention of these women, and so it's this
the women.
Yeah, the big
Those guys are dancing for the women.
And there's like lots of acrobatics. They're like at this barn raising, so it's like under construction. So there's these acrobatics with like, hammers and axes and jumping around. It's just like the music builds. It's incredible. It like takes my breath away every time. It's an incredible musical sequence. And I'm not advocating for kidnapping women to get them to fall in love with you, but like if you can take it for what it is, it's a really fun watch.
Yeah. It's a long tradition of that, I think, in media. Like, is it not Beowulf, but there's like a bunch of, well, I guess it's always, even again to the Iliad, I think, well, I mean, they accuse Paris of, but I think she just ran off with him because who wants to be married to Agamemnon? Not me. Also another original, all action movies are gay when Achilles, he doesn't join the war until they kill his boyfriend. It's like it's been 2,000 years.
They were roommates.
Yeah. They were roommates, and
it's if you get out to Italy and go to like if you're in Naples, there's in the archaeological museum of Naples, there's a section that's kind of like curtained off, but it's the like ancient erotic art section.
Oh, cool.
And it's it's very gay. So
I'm not surprised. Yeah. I'd love to see that.
It's very gay, very horny. Check it out.
Yeah. It's my kind of thing.
It's really fun. And
probably great then, Those are,
you know what? They're very creative and images I'd never seen anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole play. If you ever read going back to my cut, there's a great play. I can't remember who wrote it, called Lysistrata. That's not gay, but it's extremely lurid. Where it's just like, it's like a, I don't know how long the play would be produced because I only read it, but it's like, let's say 2 hours. It's like 2 hours of boner jokes because it's all the women in like the city. I can't remember if it's Sparta or Athens. Their men are going to war, and so they go on a sex strike, and it's like one of the funniest but like all the art sort of surrounding it that I've seen too is like just super funny. I need to reread that play, but it's very funny. It's just guys walking around just being like, "How can I use my sword if I can't use my sword?"
Yeah.
And it's just like that for like two. It's like this is from like 400 BC or something.
Yeah.
So it's very.
That's
very cool.
I had a speaking of like theater kid energy, there was for one of our Shakespeare competitions, there was a kid who there's this like very kind of your like kind of lurid body Shakespeare monologue that's just kind of like all about balls basically. And this kid did it, and the way
Nice.
he delivered it, it was like very clear what he was talking about. And our teacher was like, "You can do this monologue, but like you got to tone it down." But then the performance, like for other kids, he didn't tone it down, and he got in like big trouble. But it was a
You
hit with
know,
the kids. It made the kids love Shakespeare.
yeah.
So Shakespeare
I would.
loved
You got to
Shakespeare.
encourage that.
Yeah,
He was bawdy.
yeah, he loved.
Yeah, he loved all
If
that
kids
stuff.
knew the amount of like dick jokes in Shakespeare, they would be way more interested
Yeah,
in reading it.
I think Baz Luhrmann gets it. I think that's
Yeah.
why kind of Romeo and Juliet's such a good adaptation because that's the vibe of it. I think
Yeah, he gets
he
it.
gets
There's
it.
a bunch of like teenage boys just like making dick jokes and being
Yeah.
dumbasses.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and
Yeah,
this is and this is the north of Scotland.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
this is Macbeth.
That's the vibe. He was for the people. He wasn't stuck up.
Shout out Johnny Knoxville. Shout out Shakespeare and Johnny Knoxville.
Shakespeare.
Equal in artistry and contributions to Western
Rest in
culture.
peace, William Shakespeare. You would have loved Johnny Knoxville and
He
Jackass.
probably would have.
I
Yeah,
think he
I
would have.
would have
Yeah.
loved to see that. I'm sorry. I'd be curious if they did like a Shakespeare reference in Johnny Knoxville or in Jackass because they always do such good. They do like all those great Buster Keaton references and
Hmm.
everything else. Actually, I love telling people this is my again movie factoid. Did you know the earliest surviving American feature film is a Shakespeare adaptation of Richard III? Believe it or
Oh,
not,
no, I
it's the
didn't.
oldest one we have. I think 1911 or 12.
1911.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's interesting to watch. I did a whole in college thing on that, and then the Laurence Olivier one, and then the Ian McKellen one, which I really
Right.
really love. Love that one. Okay, so we got that, and you gave me Wendy and Lucy, Il Divo, Lady Hawk, Superman 1 and 2, Certain Women, Secret and Nim, Return to Oz. And I wrote down Smooth Talk for you by Joyce Shopper, so you can be
Talk.
pissed off. You'll probably love it. It's about a teenage girl's sexual awakening. And it's one of the best written and directed things you'll ever see. And then she never got to make. I think they put her in TV movie land or something.
Damn it.
Maybe.
What year is like what generally year is Smooth Talk?
I think it's 1980. It's on Criterion. They have a Criterion copy. It's 1985.
Okay.
It's based on a. Oh, speaking of Blonde, it's based on a Joyce Carol Oates. She did Blonde, right?
Yes.
Based on a Joyce Carol Oates short story. Yeah, Laura Dern and Treat Williams. It's a phenomenal performance by both of them. Treat
Thanks.
Williams in particular is it's his best role I've ever seen him in. But he's like, it's kind of like a Big Bad Wolf type of thing.
Interesting.
Screenplay by Tom Cole. How do I know him? Oh, he just wrote that. Oh, she was married to him. That's cool. She did Smooth Talk, and I think she did one more movie called The Lemon Sisters, and then they made a bunch of made-in-TV movies on like A&E. But it's like Smooth Talk was one of the very best movies of the 80s, I think.
I gotta watch it. That
It's
sounds
really good.
right up.
Oh, and then I put Last Action Hero too. I don't know if you
Okay.
yeah.
I have never
Actu-
seen that, but I know that boys love it.
Yeah. Very meta. Well, you know why you said because you said some movie reference to Seventh Seal.
Yeah.
It also famously has a Seventh Seal.
Seal reference.
Yeah. Also has a Shakespeare. You get to see Arnold doing Hamlet, but doing like a meta
He
commentary
does like
on
an
Hamlet.
action. It's like the
Yeah.
movie within the movie is like
To be or not to be. And it blows up not to be. Yeah, it's like a fake commercial. It's great. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I'll still defend John McTiernan in Die Hard and Predator, and so he's
Yeah.
got it deals with the same kind of meta commentary and all that stuff. There's one other one I was going to recommend you that I can't. It's driving me crazy that I can't remember. Yeah, Smooth Talk, Last Action Hero. It's gonna drive me crazy. Oh, we forgot to do our crush of the week for for the Hanging Tree. Not Carl Malden.
Yeah.
Not Gary Cooper even.
No.
This Rune. Let's go.
Rude's kind of cute. He's kind of like a poor man's Paul Newman.
He's doofy. He's
Yeah,
very goofy.
Paul Newman.
Yeah. He's got that
He's
voice.
sweet.
He sounds very, he sounds like, who he sounds like? I was trying to figure out who he sounds like. I think, I wonder if in Hail Caesar, if the Coen brothers told Alden Ehrenreich to just imitate him in this movie. Because he sounds like someone, but I don't think any seen his movies by him.
I had the same experience. I was like, I feel like I know this guy. He seems really familiar, but I couldn't place it.
Yeah. He also reminded me of the guy in Niagara. It was one of the reasons I really love Niagara too. The friend couple, the dude who plays there is like the stupidest guy I've ever seen on screen. Like the other couple that's vacationing.
Yeah.
He's just like, I love that so much. He's like the dumbest, most like, oh, what's going on here? There's like a murder or something. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
I can't remember what it is, but he brought like a bunch of books or like his models or something on their honeymoon.
Yeah. He's just a pure dumbass.
Just a doof.
Ben Piazza, I guess is
Rune?
Yeah, his Rune. I guess he literally didn't do like anything.
Yes, because he's good. I liked him. He was good at being a doof.
And you know something? To bring it back way to the beginning, Sopranos.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yes, this is the funniest thing of watching this movie and High Noon. After watching Sopranos for 20 years, I thought like, okay, they're just doing like I like when Tony Soprano, Gary Cooper, the strong silent type. That's his like. Everyone's such a
ideal of masculinity is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the two movies I know Gary Cooper in mostly, and these are two of his more famous ones. He's just crying the whole like he's just basically
He's very sensitive.
he's just a weepy wreck.
Yeah.
The whole movie. Like one, he's just a guy who's just like in this one, he just has PTSD. He can't control his emotions, and in High Noon, he's basically just frightened the whole time. Like, can anyone please help me fight these bad guys? Like, why won't anyone help me? It's just like.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking the same thing because, like I said, I just watched it for the first time a few months ago. And I was like, Gary Cooper, that's Tony Soprano's ideal, like, masculine. But it's interesting that like, I think it's probably intentional that Tony Soprano is, like, connected to Gary Cooper, who is kind of, like, a sensitive guy, a softy underneath this kind of brusque exterior. Like, that probably... to some
lack of introspection and misreading his own history, like the Italian stuff, like all they do, right? It's like, that none of them understand anything about Italy or the North versus South or anything. I think it's all like that.
So, it's so funny because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, Gary Cooper.
Yeah. I'm glad he's really good. Yeah, I need to see more movies of him. I really like him. Apparently, he had a bunch of plastic surgery before this movie.
Really?
Yeah, weirdly, I just read that on the IMDb trivia page.
Did he have like an accident or something, or just?
I don't know. I think he died 2 years later. I think he just was worried about getting old or something. Maybe I don't know exactly. But
I know I've seen other movies with Gary Cooper, but I just can't.
High Noon.
I've seen High Noon.
Cloak and Dagger. It's a great Fritz Lang spy movie, where he plays. Brutal action scene. If you like an action scene, he kind of he has this like really awful fight with this German spy, I think. And it's just like this random Fritz Lang movie that he directed the hell out of, like 1946 or something.
The problem is because I'm in France, IMDb gives me the French titles of all these films, and it's like very
Le Jour de Dagger or whatever the.
Le
I
Train.
can't do a French accent.
L'extravagance, Boule de. Balls of Fire with Barbara Stanwyck. That's what I was thinking of.
Well, Jenna, this has been so fun. We should definitely do this again.
Yes, this was such a pleasure. I can't believe it's been 4.5 hours. Crazy, but
yeah, flew by.
I hope there's something usable here because it feels like just what rambling about.
Yeah, if you hear this part, audience, rest assured we did not cut out like an hour and a half of talking about God knows what.
I don't even know what I said in this, but hopefully it's something that people want to listen to.
No, absolutely. I enjoyed it, so I
Well,
don't
just
really,
a pleasure, and I'm a huge admirer of your content and your insights, and I always am happy to see you pop up on my feed.
Likewise. Yeah, this is I really yeah, I love all your stuff, and it is yeah, admire is the I would also use that exact same word. It's great and so like well researched. It always makes me feel bad. But it makes me feel good because I enjoy it. But I'm always like, damn, I should look some of this stuff up. Because I'm just ranting. I'm just like, this guy's gay. This guy's gay. She likes, she likes her. They're all gay. That's just what I do. But you're like, 1953. This was like, and it's like, damn, I should.
No, it's the only way I can organize my thoughts. But I'm always jealous because I'm like, he sees things that I don't see and is like picking up on subtext that I've never thought about. And I'm really jealous of like how he sees movies. I think we have like very different, like I think there's a lot of overlap in our tastes, but I think our approach is very different.
Yeah.
I'm always jealous. I'm like, oh, I should have seen that. I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
Well,
we did a 4-hour pod. I'm just trying to be liberal Joe Rogan. I don't know if that discourse has reached over there, but there's the whole thing about, the Democrats need a liberal Joe Rogan. So that's kind of that's my goal now. And then we have a 4-hour conversation. And so I'm saying conspiracy. I realize I should have explained that, but seeing things in the movies, I'm trying to train myself into his conspiracy brain. Like if I can just like,
you're his worst nightmare. Where like really the liberal elite is trying to make everyone gay with all our gay movies and
yeah, that's what I get so mad at that because like when they say like, yeah. I mean, I think I made a joke about that in one of the videos, but like, yeah, if you think movies are gay now, it's like, wait till you start repressing people. Then you'll see some gay shit. Like, yeah, you ain't seen nothing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the media discourse is so stupid.
Yeah. About just secret gay movies. I mean, yeah, we laugh. I don't want to say who, but one of my gay friends, I think I might have told, I can't remember. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but who knows if anyone's even listened to any of these. But like a couple of my friends, like they got like their sexual awakening watching like Bon Jovi videos on like MTV or something.
Yeah.
As gay guys. And it's like, you can, or like White Snake or something. And it's like, you can't stop any, like the idea that it's going to be a movie or something is just so, yeah.
Sexuality is like
calls coming from inside the house.
Like you can't.
Yeah.
It's just like such a raw human thing. You can't make anyone, be attracted to something that they're not or stop them from feeling the feelings they have. Like it's just this very wild primal thing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and especially as revenge too. If you try and take it out, I will get into movies just to spite you people. And I will make the gayest movie. Like I will slip in. I'll marshal all my forces of darkness. Yeah, to make the gayest movie. I will watch Red River and Cowboy on repeat for months. Just fucking Lawrence of Arabia and Master and Commander.
But I feel I don't know if you've seen the new Mission Impossible movie.
Oh God, I loved it. The gay sub.
Yeah. I felt so proud because he was talking to Shea Wiggum and he was like, the entity doesn't want us to get along. Like it wants us to fight. We have to do the one thing that it would never expect us to do. And my husband leaned over and said, kiss. And I was like, yes. Like I've indoctrinated him to see.
Yeah. Excellent.